All right. Okay, we're here. We're ready. We're live. We're ready. Okay, so that's good. That's good. That's good. How's it going, everybody? What's up? Let me get. Okay, so we got that. Where's the other things? It'll be there. Yes. Ooh, actually, maybe I would actually want. I do still have to have that there. So let's do that, and then let's actually do this. Let's see what happens when I do this. Ooh, maybe. Sorry, I'm still. I think I mentioned this before on. Let me actually get on the. There we go. What up? Oh, we got the ad still going. Wait, let's still say it's going on here. Uh-oh. Is the ad still going? Can anybody on Twitch confirm that the ad's still going? I prematurely closed the thing that I need to see, like, the metadata for the ads and stuff. It can't be. It can't be. It's been going for, like, ever. I don't know if you saw the image on the Discord, but after the last stream, I decided to stop being lazy and finish my honor mode run. Hell yeah. How far'd you get? Bro, I need an opinion on something. Hit me with it. I am nothing but opinionated. Let's see. Where is it? Starting soon. There we go. Okay. I've been doing some. It's nothing that. Well, it's a little bit of stuff that you guys can see on your end, but I've been tinkering a little bit with the with certain setup systems. Oh wait, no, not that one. I need that one. Yeah. Really? Oh well, it does. That's odd. Well, I don't even know if that's actually supposed to be running at all. Weird. Anyway, I've just been tinkering with some stuff. We got some things actually like up and running, like properly now. I figured out because one of the things that we've been having like a small issue with over the last couple of days, is the what is it? The oh come on. Pull you down there. YouTube chat wasn't showing up on the overlays and stuff. But I figured out what the problem with that is. And I got it working. So YouTube chat, you guys should be able to pop off and actually see it on the screen here. Let me actually see real quick. Oh wait, no, I'm on the wrong thing here. Where is it? I finished. I posted the achievement. Nice. You're one of the like very few people who has actually finished this game, present company included. I have no like I said, I got real close. I was on fucking like the last stretch. Like I was going into the upper city, and then it fucking just everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. So pissed off. Such bullshit. I think I might actually leave that over there. Okay. Well, I suppose it's fine. I'll fuck around with it a little bit later. I'm just still doing like a lot of like back end OBS stuff. Like I have it set up a little bit more like I want it to, but it's not like exactly. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm suffering from game burnout, but I was thinking going back to AD&D days to see if that'll help. What is AD&D? Or did you like mistype and you meant to say just like D&D? Dundles and Draglums. Is that what you were referring to with your big referring brain? Yeah. I should have just hit load. Why did I do that instead of just hit the load button? That would have been a much better solution to the issue I was currently facing in my time of great strife. Let's actually do this. Let's do that right there. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Again, like it's always I've talked about this like once or twice, but I've like it's always like I don't get like because I can do like test streams and stuff, right? I can do test streaming on YouTube to help like stress test certain things, right? Get overlays working, get this working, get that working, get the other things. Also, horizontal chat. I know that I'm still on. I know that I'm still on the TV screen. I'm just like repositioning while I yap and we get sorted out here. So like I can do like a whole bunch of like actual testing and stuff offline where I'm not online and like actively live streaming and stuff like that. And it's fine, but there's a lot of things that sort of like maybe not need to happen, but more so like pop up as an online thing, right? It's things that I either notice while like actively live or just sort of like tinker around with as I'm live. So I usually try to get like a little bit of stuff done with that, like like this thing or that thing, little tweaks here and there. But then it's also like, no, I'm live. I need to like actively doing something. So like if I ever like go quiet or something like that for what seems like an extended period of time for me, because I'm always fucking yapping, that's usually what it is. That's usually what it is. What the hell's going on with my XLR? Yeah, that light better be green. I don't know what the fucking yellow light means, but it better be green. I don't want to see no yellow lights. Only green lights. No slow. Only go. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. I mean, tabletop games are interesting. It doesn't have to be like... doesn't even... fucking like nobody asked, but it doesn't even really have to be like a local thing. Like I was talking about before in yesterday's chat, me, Porta Wolf, and a couple of our mutuals got together and like a while ago at this point, and we did we did sort of like we did a campaign that we never actually finished, where we were playing the Fallout tabletop, and it was really fun. The Fallout role playing game. It was really cool. Those kinds of games specifically are really fun because they have just such, they allow for such like unique creativity, and it really gets the brain juices juicing. It gets the blood pumping, gets the cortisol going and stuff, right? Sort of in a way that like video games can't, but video games also can, right? It's a very sort of like unique old school pen and paper sort of experience that video games replicate. Fucking like look at the game that we're playing right now. It's literally Dundles and Dragons. But yeah, it is one of those things where like it's probably good to sort of like not backtrack, but like go back to some of those older, more like social games. Like that's kind of one of those things. Like it's so weird. I've talked about it before. I'm not a huge fan of like co-op games and stuff like that, multiplayer games, shit like that. But there is a very strong attraction to those games because of the social element to it, right? The social aspect of those games are a big part of why those games are so fun and so enjoyable. That's kind of the reason why friend slop games have been just like exploding over the last couple of years, because they're so fucking fun to play, right? So it's like, having more gaming options that have some sort of social aspect to them is just like good for your mental health, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love my single-player gaming experiences. But every once in a while, a good friend slop is, like, the way to go. Or a good online multiplayer game, right? That's it might be part of the reason why there's so many gaming companies that are trying to push more into, like, live service games, because they know that the social aspect of that is one of the things that unintentionally keeps people playing their games, right? If you're playing a game with your friends and you're enjoying spending time with your friends, there's a higher likelihood that you're going to continue to play that game. Because even if it's like a bad game, you're going to play it just because you and your friends like playing it. Okay, I missed Twitch chat here. The weirdest thing, I tried to send the image to my best friend on TikTok, but the screenshot from the Xbox app, it was the achievement cover and date unlocked, but it kept getting flagged for breaking TOS. So to get into just a micro rant, I'm trying to like get a little bit better about making my rants more concise, which is difficult because I want to just expunge on so much bullshit. But basically ever since the United States became like, not like the United States, but ever since like, America gained control of TikTok, it became like an American app or whatever, which is really strange because like the board of directors had like majority Americans, like the majority of the board of directors were American, but like, okay, sure. But ever since America took over the app, it's just gone so fucking downhill. There are one or two things about it that I actually kind of do like. A couple things. But overall, specifically when it comes to moderation, it's just gotten so much worse. I mean, that's part of the that was the whole point of that when I was playing Black Flag last week, and I went on that whole fucking like diatribe about how fucking TikTok banned me from being able to live stream because there was a scene in the game where I was like having a giggle over fucking somebody who had taken a picture of an in-game NPC's feet, bare feet, and I guess the fucking AI tracking bullshit read my PNG fucking gas mask as being a look of deep enjoyment. So yeah, the moderation is just fucking cooked to shit. I've had chats with like friends and stuff where like just random shit will get flagged as like, oh, you can't do that. This is against TOS, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You are actively on crack cocaine. It's ridiculous. Okay, let me switch to the right window here. Let's get that. Whoa, okay, good. All right, I gotta respond to a texted message real quick.
So, do you have loves waiting for you once this is all over?
You know what? That is not the easiest of questions for me to answer.
You mean just waiting? Like a lovesick puppy? Short-term amusements are much less hassle.
Okay. But yeah, fucking TikTok's moderation shit is just ridiculous. It's just absurd. Almost as absurd as whatever the fuck is going on with OBS. I still don't know why OBS is fucking slugging so much. I've like kind of looked up a little bit of stuff, and I feel like part of it, I think maybe a little bit of it is maybe my KB ratio is too high. But I've also sort of like looked back on some of my past live streams, and it seems like it's still like a little low poly, a little grainy. So I'm not exactly sure. I've tried like stopping the recording, and that like kind of helps. Like, no, that doesn't really help even a little bit. It's so weird. I don't know. Oh, maybe if I turn that off, will that do anything? Nope, that's so weird. I don't know why it's being so it's either like it's legitimately either like it's got to be Windows. It's got to be a fucking Windows thing. I don't understand why this would be so fucking sluggish. And like it doesn't like that's the weird thing too. It's like a little bit sluggish on the back end, but then like as far as the actual stream, it doesn't really affect anything except, funnily enough, my PNG tuber. Like, I'm real choppy right now for, like, literally no reason. Ooh, actually, I'm seeing that, my background here is also kind of jank. Maybe that's it. Maybe Wallpaper Engine is being weird. I'm gonna try to mitigate some stuff real quick, gamers. Here, hold on. Okay, let's see. I would have to go here. I'm gonna be a little bummed out if that is actually it. If it's Wallpaper Engine. No, it wasn't even Wallpaper Engine. That's so weird. I don't know. That's gonna be because I spent way too long doing the most fucking like bare bone shit for like overlays and stuff on stream. I need to look into what's making OBS go so slow like that. And it only seems like it does that when I have a game window open, because I'm not on the game window right now, right? I'm on Steam and I'm opening up Wallpaper Engine again, but like that's running fine. But then I switch over to the game. Like it literally is like it's just a processing thing. The game, my computer is just using up more processing energy when I'm in game. But it's like this hasn't really been like a huge thing for like a while. I don't know why now it's starting to be an issue. It's got to at least be somewhat tied to OBS. I need to do a little bit more tinkering with how the with how it runs. Or maybe it's Firefox. Maybe because Firefox is using up a whole lot of memory. But even then, I'm not really using up like a ginormous amount. I'm fucking like barely scraping 30% on CPU and memory usage, and then my network is 3%. I'm fucking like quiet as fuck out in these streets. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay. But that's for another day. That's neither here nor there. So, here's the game plan. Fuck it. I was gonna say like we should probably go back to Mole and like fucking do the shit with that, but like, it's not a huge priority. Does that do anything? Let me see here real quick. Hold on. Oops, that's not it. There we go. Okay, so what does this do here? That actually looks a little bit more responsive. It is still a little bit sluggish, but at least well, actually, let's do something with this for a little bit. What if I do this? What if I pull that down? What does that look like? No, it's still kind of choppy. It's still kind of a little bouncy. Like it's bouncy, but it doesn't seem like it's the most like high fidelity thing. Sorry, I'm getting I'm getting caught up in the fucking minutia of everything. Let me pull this down real quick. Let me pull that down. Let me just get stuff a little bit more succinct here. We'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. And we need to have that open. And then I guess maybe I guess it would be like that actually. Okay, sure. That works, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Fucking bullshit housekeeping that nobody cares about on the back end. All right, so here's the game plan. We did this stuff in the Grove. We took a little bit longer because I fucking yapped about Obsession for fucking 45 minutes, which was fun. That was that was like objectively awesome. I'm still okay. So for you guys, does the stream seem a little choppy? I minimized OBS. I don't know if that's resulting in like any kind of like slowed down experience. I think it might be. No, that still seems pretty smooth. Maybe it was just the map. Maybe it was just like being weird about capturing the map. Okay, so I talked about this yesterday. Our goal for today is to go over here, do all the stuff in the Blighted Village, get Shovel, get the book, kill the Void Spider, long rest, and then go up here and do the stuff in the Risen Road. We can knock out the Paladins of Tyr. We can take out the Gnolls. We can go and fucking talk to Voss and like get that all cleared up. And then we come back down here. And then, so that at least that's our goal. We're going to do the stuff in the Blighted Village, Void Spider, all that good shit, sleep, long rest, and then go up here, do that stuff. And then if we have time, we're going to start working on stuff down here at, in the swampy area. Yeah. Okay, so first things first, let's zip over here and let's interact with the pig. You guys got anything on you? Anything good? You actually do. Holy shit. Hold on. I need to loot corpses. I'll be taking these. Ooh, you got food. I'll be taking you and I'll be taking you. Okay. Where's the pig? Show me the pig. Where is the pig? Isn't the pig usually here?
Lae'zel, have you ever done a good deed just for the sake of it?
I have performed deeds well and efficiently. Is this what you mean?
Not exactly. But you answered my question.
All right. The question has been answered. Yeah, the pig is usually here. Or is he? No, wait, is he farther back here? No, he's like fucking right up there. Why is there no pig? What the hell? Guys, somebody stole the pig. Oh my god.
That Zaith'isk you mentioned intrigues me. Care to tell me a bit more?
That's curious.
Yeah, so there's that. That's not gonna really do anything for us though. Okay, I was just double backing this way just to fucking unlock the map because I'm fucking OCD about that. Let's go over here. There's some mushrooms and stuff over here if we can. Oh, yeah, there it is. Mugwort. Rogue morsel. I'm kind of bummed out that, and like, I don't even know if this is something that would be like an artificer would get the most mileage out of, or if this is even like something that an artificer like really does. But I feel like the alchemy in Baldur's Gate 3 is really underserviced. Like, it doesn't really have a whole lot of benefit outside of like maybe making like 1 or 2 extra potions, right? Like, you can get like a little bit of like you can get a couple more health potions, and that's pretty much it. I can't really think of anybody who's like who is like specking, not even really like specking, but like really leaning into alchemy. It doesn't seem like it's a mechanic that is like super, you know, useful. Like, it's a little useful again for like a potion here or there, but yeah, it's kind of underwhelming.
Boys, looks like we got ourselves a trespasser.
Sorry.
Don't bother running. My archer's got decent aim and plenty of arrows.
The mark glows, but you feel nothing in response. Your illithid power is beyond reach until you rest.
I had completely forgotten about that, actually, because we used... When did we use our illithid powers last? I guess it was technically on the Nautilus when we used it to unlock the... when we used it to unlock the what is it? When we used it to unlock the case that or the pod rather that wow, I am just fucking brain blanking right now. It's when we used it to unlock the case that Shadowheart was in. So, and we haven't slept since then, which is very abnormal for me because usually I'll sleep like right after. Like I'll do all the stuff in the Grove and then I'll long rest. Actually, no, I'll long rest before getting to the Grove, do all the stuff in the Grove, and then get to this point. So this is a little abnormal for me because I have not gotten to this point without having done a long rest. So this is an interesting predicament for me to be in. But I am Captain Rhizomatic, so my persuasion is crazy style, more so than my intimidation. But that makes more sense. I'm not really like an intimidation kind of guy. I'll usually go for just convincing somebody. I think one wizard subclass has one ability to roll a dice to make two things instead of one. Yeah, like there's one specific class. Like there's a class that is like serviced a little bit. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Serviced a little bit towards alchemy, but for the most part, it's very like underutilized and underwhelming. Which is really kind of a bummer because I feel like for certain classes it could really like maybe not be a game changer, but it could be a pretty powerful tool. In my opinion. Plus it's like because like so there's like explosives in the game, right? Like actual like explosive like smoke powder bombs and whatnot. I'm kind of surprised that we don't like alchemy doesn't have like a stronger expansion for like being able to make like throwable explosives and like, you know, this, that, and the other thing, like stuff like that, right? I'm kind of surprised by that specifically because I feel like that should be a function of the game, right? That should be something that you can do in game, like being able to like make grenades and, you know, smoke, like actual smoke bombs and you know, stuff that creates like noxious clouds or like you know like fire bomb, not fire bombs, but like, you know, like flashbangs, grenade, like ice grenades, stuff like that. That seems cool. That seems interesting. But as far as I know, that's not an actual function that the game has. We got an ad starting here pretty soon. Heads up, Twitch gang. But yeah, that's kind of a little disappointing, if I'm being so for real right now. That's more of a hireling that you can keep at camp kind of thing for the main four thing. Yeah, like it's not something that you keep as like a major part of. It's not something that you have as like a major part of your core party. It's like it's a companion accessory, right? You're not using it. Wow. You're not using it as a as like a mainstay of your party. It's just an additional nice quality bit of not even really like housekeeping. It's an extra utility, right? It's kind of like how when I was originally running 4 teams, I would never ever bring Astarion with me, which is kind of funny to think about in retrospect because his stealth ability is actually pretty overpowered. But I would never bring Astarion with me, mainly because like his biggest utilization is for like lockpicking and pickpockets. So I would only ever bring him out when I needed to do lockpicking and pickpocket stuff, and then he would just go right back to camp. Hanging out for a second so we can let the ad run so Twitch chat can get back with us. There we go, and we're back. Welcome back, Twitch chat. If you want to see less ads on Twitch, consider becoming a member. Blah, 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 blah. You know. But But yeah, it is a little disappointing. It feels like it feels like alchemy could have been like a stronger thing if they sort of like expanded it, and like, because artificer is like, I think the biggest fucking, what is it? The biggest class that is not in the game. And I feel like if they were able to add artificer, I feel like that class would have been like the big, like, you know, crafting class, like going all in on like alchemy. And maybe there could have been like, maybe not like, you know, Fortnite fucking shit, like they're building fucking like, you know, walls in like real time and shit like that, but, you know, a little bit more handy, kind of like an engineer or you know, a mechanic, where they're like maybe not fixing stuff up, but like building like quickie things that can be used in combat. I think I'm the only one, and I'm subscribed. Hell yeah! I know there's other people as well who are subscribed and stuff. I just can't see who's like actively watching. But, you know, I always just sort of like, you know, it's part of the shtick. I gotta say the stuff that you know, the YouTubers say. That's what I do. Okay, let's hit this fucking easy persuasion. Easy, but close.
Suppose it's best to save our strength for a real threat.
Okay.
Go on then. Just keep your nose clean.
I always keep my nose clean.
Gale, what is your interest in the astral plane?
Time. Or rather, the absence of it. In the astral plane, everything is eternal.
It will be my home soon enough. Should Vlaakith will it.
Alright. Oh, come on. I'm on the wrong window. That's why. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Okay, so the goblins around here have like a little bit to say, like every once in a while, but they don't really have like a whole lot going on. So I don't usually talk to the goblins here. I'm just kind of like, hey, how's it going? I'm eventually gonna murder you guys. La 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 la, blah 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 blah. Let's see. Let's get thefterizing. I guess it's not really technically stealing because there's nobody here. Know what I mean? Oop. Come on. Get the mugwort. And then read the book.
You've a particular way with words, Gale.
It says there's a cellar here somewhere.
Oration suits you more than battle. I don't see one.
They're not mutually exclusive. The weave is served best with a dash of eloquence.
Uh-oh. Gale, what the fuck? Do you need a magical snack? Okay, where's that? I know I have the fucking... Is that it? Yeah, Ring of Color Spray.
A devil and devil hunter standing shoulder to shoulder against a... That is most gratifying to hear. May I?
Here you go. And then, yeah. I guess I'll eventually give him the locket, but for now, Color Spray.
Thank you. A metaphorical demon, I haste to point out, but no less dangerous.
I'm glad you're feeling better. Your condition sounded unpleasant.
Oh, it's not so bad once you get used to it.
Did I get to this part in Gale's quest line in the original last time we were playing? I can't remember.
Though,
I guess I should start slowing down. We've kind of gotten caught up on like where we were previously.
all will be told.
Don't mention it. I'm glad I could help.
My lord, I bow to your boundless kindness.
You're welcome. All right. Am I in the wrong? Nope, it just wasn't working right. Okay, so I don't think we gain anything out of this book, but let me read it real quick, just for fudsies. Nothing. Absolutely useless. Hilarious. Okay, so the cellar's back here. Oh wait, no, there's the cellar. Okay. Let me check something real quick, actually. Where is it? Oh, it closed. That's why. Okay. Oops. Come on. There we go. Okay. Oops. I'm pretty sure I can get into the oh wait, hold on. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can get into the like the rest of the stuff where like the void spider is and stuff from like this area specifically, like not this room specifically but from like this larger underground area. I think there's one spot where I can get in there. I'm gonna check. Okay, so that's live. Okay. Cool. It is, Yeah. Okay, cool. It is working. Dope. I just wanted to double check to make sure TikTok Live was up and rolling. Whoops. Shut up. Quiet, TikTok. Be silent. All right. Let's see. So, ooh, potion of healing. Usually I wouldn't fucking bother with a lot of this shit, but like we're in hardcore honor mode and fucking shit like that. I can't be out here just fucking around. Oh, these barrels have a whole bunch of all these barrels are gonna have alchemic ingredients in them because we're in Alchemy Town. Oh, fucking Alchemy Town. Let's go. Oh, the shelves probably. Oh, those are just bottles. All right, fair enough. Where's my fucking torch? Let there be light. Oh, potions. Yoink. Okay. Normally I'll like go around and like light all the candles and fucking shit like that. But like one, I don't have time for that, and two, I usually mostly do that as like a paladin for like role playing reasons, right? It seems like a paladin-y thing to do. Get the garlic. Oop, come on. There we go. Okay. Get the chest. Wisp weed. I'll take the poison resistance. Healer's log. Read that. Good. Suspicious potion. Oh, the recipe for the potion. Yeah, hell yeah. Ooh, there's a lever. I shall flip the lever. Flip. Perfect. We did it. Guys, we're in. I don't think there's anything in any of this stuff. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Let's zip over this way. Let's go over here. Fuck, now I have to remember. How do we get shovel again? Do we need to, like, do something specific, or is she just, like, in this casket? I think she's just in this casket, but let me... Oh, fuck. Actually, I just... I almost fucking completely forgot. This is honor mode, so, like, saving it doesn't really do anything. Let me double check this real quick. I wanna make sure, because if you don't do it right, you kind of fuck up getting shovel. So let's do this one actually. How to get shovel permanently. As a non-wizard. I mean, like, I guess, like, sure, but like, okay. Oh yeah, there's a scroll. That's what it was. That's what it was. Okay. I think that only had like water in it. Yeah, these guys don't have anything like crazy in here. There's something around here. Is it over here? There it is. Okay. Let's get this real quick. Dig it up, dig it up, dig up the treasure. Come on. No, no, come on, come on. Yeah, okay. Give those to Gale a little later. Fuck, now I gotta remember how to do this.
No one back home will ever believe this.
What was the beer's fucking pattern again? I forget. Speak your name. I think I have to say Ara Silverleaf. That's not my name. Oh, he's just making shit up. Yeah, because that's my it's a race-based response. Tell it your name. Cause like the okay, hold on a sec. Okay, cool. I think I got it. This one.
I do not know this name.
You don't know any names, you dumbass mirror.
To my master. Step forward and declare yourself an ally.
Master. Yes, an ally. I am an ally of your masters. Oop, I always forget that enter doesn't work here.
Ally of Ilintoth may pass. What think you of the Zolkir known as Zastan?
Oh, failed it. But the correct answer... He's a foul, wretched creature.
You are no Zolkir. But are you wise? Tell me, why might one use balsam ointment?
To clean a wound.
Acceptable. Fine.
Hooray.
If you could see anything in me, what would it be?
Money. Let's see. I was gonna say my wiener, but then it's like, I don't know about that, man. That seems kind of crazy. Look for okay, yeah. It was the nothing good tends to come of ambitions and stories like this. I would see you freed. Rid the worm from my head.
You seek to survive. You seek power.
I just realized you have a Lego figure in your thumbnail. Yeah. It's funny because like I was trying like the pattern I was sort of going with Baldur's Gate 3 playthroughs is just like, you know, background stuff and then oh, these are more fucking what is it? More special surprise enemies. Because normally there's not enemies down here. Okay, so
Can't even catch my breath.
let's do this. That's kind of caught me with my ass out. Oh, fuck, he's here. Resurrected. Oh, does this guy count as a boss? Oh, legendary action, not dead yet. This counts as a boss. Guys, we got a long rest opportunity. Long rest opportunity. Modded long rest opportunity. But he's here regardless. Lintoth. Okay, let me see here. Can I examine and then like see what the legendary action is? Level 4 Bubby. No. Oh wait, no, yeah, there it is. When reduced to 0 hit points, he will regain 30 hit points instead, unless the damage was radiant or caused by a critical hit. Okay. Hit him with radiant damage. You got it. Okay, that should be pretty easy. Let's see. So I don't have any. Oh, can I knock this down? Just fucking take them all out? No, that's all right. Skeleton. Ooh, pretty decent. Not gonna lie. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So the pattern I was going with Baldur's Gate 3, with Baldur's Gate 3 thumbnails for stream is like, you know, background, middle ground is the logo, and then in the foreground is like, because it's always like a very simple process. It's just, you know, creating a PNG of a bard from you know, like I'll just like go and like Google bard or whatever, right? And use that and then just like, you know, superimpose my head over it or whatever, right? But there's only so many, at least on fucking using DuckDuckGo. There's a lot of AI art that pops up when you type in Bard on DuckDuckGo. But I'll usually try to find one that doesn't look like it was, you know, somebody's art, like somebody's hand drawn art, and wasn't like AI or anything like that. And I'll use that as the as like the cutout, and then I'll just like, you know, put my head over it and stuff like that, like I've, you know, been doing. But you kind of run out of those pretty quickly. So I kind of had to get a little creative, and one of the things that popped up was a oh shit. Oh yeah, I'd have to do that. I have to dash. One of the things that popped up was just a Lego guy, and I figured like, fuck it, right? Why the hell not? There we go. Yeah, it was that, like, that was pretty much it. It was like, you know what? Fuck it. We ball. Plus, like, this week has been kind of like, not like a big week in the whole like bricks and minifig saga. But like, you know, it's still oh fuck. Okay, I can still do the level 2 hits, so I can still hit him with Guiding Bolt to take him out. So that's something at least. Let's do that. Yeah, it's something. Counted as something. Let's go. Dash. And then we'll zip over here, and then I'm probably not going to be able to do a sneak attack. Oh, I can. Ooh, now we're thinking of portals. Kill him. Ah, decent amount of damage, but didn't kill him. But yeah, so that's just what I did. There was a Lego option for a bard, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't know. I don't quite know what I'm gonna do, because like, I suppose I could also do like, whoops, I didn't mean to hit the space bar and pass on Gale. I suppose I could also do rogue, right? I could look up rogues in the for background stuff, because like I technically am a rogue, but like I'm a rogue, I'm a rogue bard, or I guess mostly bard rogue, but you know. Oh shit, he fucking used 10 chemicals. Oh, this is less than ideal. Especially since do these things do damage over time, or are they just fucking make it so I can't move? Shitballs. Yeah, and it weak and fucking. Okay, let's try this. Fucking missed. Ah, this is gonna suck. Mantrap on YouTube just followed. Mantrap, thank you for the follow. Big, huge, big, ginormous. That was also lagging too. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with OBS. I need to look into that. Okay. So this is not ideal. This is a big whoopsie daisy moment. Oh fuck, maybe I should have used the void ball to fucking get them all to come over there. I suppose I should hit you, because if it breaks concentration, then the black tentacles go away. Immune to piercing damage. Ah, I should have checked that before I did nothing about it. Ooh. Oh my god. An actual, like, legitimate opportunity to use cleave in a meaningful way. Look at this shit, gamers. Fucking check this shit. Guys, you ready for this shit? Guys, look. I can use cleave, and I can actually hit 3 people here. Also, I'm sorry. I missed the chat here. I'm a bit disappointed by the BOS ending in Fallout 4. Wish they didn't have to kill the railroad. I'm going to start a new playthrough and play Minutemen yet again. I feel like they're the best for the Commonwealth. I had my friend make my profile picture. It's a pretty solid profile picture. And yeah, the Brotherhood in, because it's like, I don't know. There's like all of the factions have, like, you know, their positives and their negatives and stuff like that, and like there's sort of like different ways to interpret, because originally what I did is I originally went with the Institute as the canon, or not the canon ending, but like my first ending was with the Institute, and it was one of those things where I sort of like built on the headcanon. It's like, okay, so I do that, and then, like, you know, oh, I go on to, like, you know, reform the Institute and, like, you know, slowly make things better for, like, the people on the surface or whatever, you know, something like that. But it does have a very sort of like, you know, this is what happened, period, ending, like end of story kind of thing. There's not really a whole lot of like follow-up where you can kind of like see where the factions post story is gonna go, right? Like you can kind of see, because like with the Brotherhood, their whole point for being in Boston is so that they can blow up the Institute and kill the synths, right? That's their whole shtick. And they go and they do that, and then it's like, well, congratulations, we did it. And I guess going forward, they're just kind of hanging out for a little bit, making sure that you know, there aren't any escapees or, you know, anybody who is able to, like, you know, pop up later. And it's like, okay, sure. But then, like, with the not the railroad specifically, because the railroad is also a very, like, you can see what they do, like you can envision what their long-term plan is after the end of the story, right? You can see where they're going. But with the Brotherhood, or not the Brotherhood specifically, the Institute, you don't have that. You don't really see where they're going after that point. With the Brotherhood, you do, but it's still kind of a lackluster ending. I mean, like, it kind of makes sense that they go and they stop the railroad, because the railroad is, like, actively, you know, aiding and abetting, to use police terminology. What would it be? The dissemination of synths across the wasteland, right? The Brotherhood wants to get rid of all synths, and if the railroad is making it easier for them to just, like, disappear, it makes their end goal harder, so the railroad has to be shut down. It is a little bit disappointing that they have to go to that extreme, but, you know, the Brotherhood in Fallout 4 is more extreme, so what are you gonna do? Now watch this drive. Bam! All right, so that didn't result in, like, the complete sweep that I wanted. I completely missed this person, but that was still cool. I haven't really gotten the opportunity to use cleave in, like, an active, like, I can use this on multiple enemies kind of way. What I am going to do, though, is I am going to use my surge action, and bam. Fuck, I actually probably should have done it on you. Ah, well. That's still helpful, because we're still good, but we're not as good as I would have liked. Battles that have multiple enemies, especially when one of them is clearly, like, the boss enemy and the others are, like, the fucking underlings, those always kind of give me the heebie-jeebies a little bit, because it's like, oh my god, if I fuck up, there's just so much additional room for error. Fuck, maybe I should have used that on you. Okay, so can I hit you with it? Come on. Yeah, 36%, but let's do it. Damn it. Oh, fuck. I don't want to start this off with a team wipe. That is not what I want to do. Oh, maybe I can do this though. Fuck. Damn it. I wanted to get close. Oh, I guess I still could. Do it. Oof. All right. Not the coolest thing, but it did something. He knocked Lae'zel down. That's bad. Our Tav is dead. We lost. That's the... Oh, son of a bitch. That's that's game right there. Our Tav is dead. Our Tav is dead, and Lae'zel just died, and Astarion's down. Will has almost no health. Damn. That's game right there. Dead Tav. Shit. Ah, fuck me. And I was just like fucking like yesterday talking about like, oh, you know, there's going to be like, you know, new bosses and stuff like that. It's gonna be like, there's gonna be certain situations where like I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna like, you know, how I should navigate this, right? Like how I'm going to navigate this boss. And like I feel as if I didn't this battle specifically, there's probably like one or two things I could have probably done a little bit better, but fuck, those black tendrils fucked me up. I was fucking jobbed because it's like they make it so that you basically like can't move, and so my front end people are fucking a bard rogue split and Astarion. Not exactly the strongest characters. And then I don't even know what the hell happened to Lae'zel there, but yeah, that's that was a rough one. Not gonna lie, that was that sucked. We're a freaking hour into the game, and we already lost. Fuck. And I'm all talking this fucking like big game and shit. Maybe not big game, but it's like I'm all like, you know what, fucking like I feel like this playthrough is gonna like this whole like ball lock run stuff is gonna be a lot easier. Because you know, we're gonna play with an unlocked team, so we're gonna have a whole lot of people. It's gonna be super easy. It's not gonna be an issue. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be good. And then literally the first fight we get into at the start of the stream here, and we lose. The bard is dead. The bard is no more. Yeah. That's rough. Oh, this sucks. Fuck, maybe we should, cause like, let me see here. Let's open this. So I guess we're gonna like this is it for that. So we're tapping out there. Okay. Let's do this. Let's at least open this back up, and then we can re-strategize.
Who are you?
Let me put that there, and then move this up here for now. Because I'm reviewing the, because like, again, there's no real, like, fucking, like, there's like kind of a written out rule set for a bald lock, but it's not exactly, you know, the most like well documented stuff. So let me review here. Core rules: permadeath. If a companion / party member's HP reaches 0, they are removed permanently for the rest of the run. No reviving and no rehiring later. No resetting to undo losses. So on honor mode, that's kind of, you know, can't do that anyway. You can't reload a save just to avoid a death. Some people allow reloading only for non-fatal mistakes. Most don't. Interesting, but still, most don't. So yeah, that's a hard and fast core rule there. It says use consumables, temporary combat effects normally, scrolls, potions, elixirs. But if someone dies, you still lose them. So I guess that would count like scrolls, and they mean like scrolls of. No, that wouldn't be scrolls of revival, but like still, like they die, so you can't revive them. Team roster rules, the BG3 equivalent of party encounters, roster size limits. Okay. Replacement rules. When a member dies, you're allowed to bring in a replacement from a permitted pool, which would be like the companion characters, or the what is it? Origins, like Karlach and Will and all them. Each time you enter a new major zone. Okay, yeah. Replacement. Okay. Some rules treat certain outcomes, getting mind-controlled, failing key checks, or losing mandatory escorts as a death condition, too. That's crazy. Because they're, like, can you imagine, like, that rule, I don't know, again, there's, like, a lot of them that are, like, sort of, like, optional things. But that one seems, like, extra challenging because it's, like, mind control. What do you count as, like, mind-controlled? Like, would the harpies count as mind controlled? So then in that specific instance, does that mean anybody who gets who gets charmed in that specific instance during that fight is considered dead. That's crazy. Bosses. Usually bosses are harsher, e.g. no resets during boss fights. Or if the boss downs your team, everyone must be treated as dead unless they were stabilized by you. Okay, yeah. You may be forced to do fights with appropriate party companion. Okay. If you want the easiest to follow without getting lost in edge cases. Okay, yeah. Okay. We are having a rough go of this. I'm not gonna lie. This is our second, and it's like it's not quite, or at least in my mind, it's not quite the same as like doing a Nuzlocke run in like Pokemon, right? It feels like it's a little bit easier to sort of like power your way through in Pokemon, right? In a Nuzlocke, specifically because like you can always come back in a Nuzlocke, right? There's no like ultimate defeat. I mean, there is, but like it's easy to sort of like work around it, right? You can always get like new characters or like new Pokemon for your team. You can always rebuild your team for like, you know, a certain amount of time, right? Like you only have like so many routes that you can get new Pokemon on, but yeah, the it's more forgiving in a Nuzlocke, funnily enough. In a BAULDLOCK run, it is not. We are it's just not. both times we've lost this challenge specifically because our Tav was murdered, because our Tav died. We have such a huge target on our backs as like the main character, right? We can't work around that. We're just stuck with that. Like what is this? Oh, that's that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're just kind of stuck with it. So maybe the way to go would actually probably be with like a paladin or somebody a little beefier, like somebody who's a bit more survivable in a fight. Cause like, I don't know, it's it's frustrating, right? Cause we have our bard was actually doing like pretty good in a lot of instances. We held our own in a fight because we didn't really have any we didn't really go down all that often. We took damage for sure and like had our health get low a couple of times, but like yeah, usually it's like we're able to just like, you know, we had good survivability as a rogue bard, but yeah, not in that one specific fight that we ironically enough specifically included in a modded sense, just to as a counterbalancing, right? Because we made it easier so that we could we made the game a little bit more challenging so that we could counterbalance against us having a larger team. And then, funnily enough, that's the thing that actually ended up taking us down in this instance. Because we ran into a fight that we weren't prepared for, definitely didn't respond to in the proper manner, and got absolutely dogged for it. Like, we weren't even in that case, we weren't even really, like, struggling in the fight. The enemy just fucking was what. That's what I was talking about with, like, what is it? That's what I was talking about with like, fights where there's, like, a main big enemy and then, like, a lot of littler ones. because it's so easy for those, like, especially in the early level or in the early game, it's so easy for those multiple small enemies to like do a lot of big damage. How much do I need to donate for you to let me name your character? So that's actually that's actually the thing there. We do actually need to make another character because, like I was just talking about, we lost another Baldlock run. We got, again, our Tav just got fucking bodied and murdered. Yeah, we're on run number 3 now. Yeah, I mean, if you wanna give him a name, so far we haven't gotten far. We haven't even fucking gotten to the Goblin encampment yet. We've gotten to the Grove, finished the stuff in the Grove, and then died immediately after leaving the Grove twice. 2 times we did that. So I feel like another run. I mean, it's one of those things where we like would have to spec into like building a more survivable character, which if we're sort of like adhering like stronger to the like having one of every class thing, would probably have to be like, what would it be? It would either be like a monk or a sorcerer, and then we would just have to like stay on the back end. Funnily enough, a sorcerer actually has higher constitution, so they would have more survivability than a monk. Wait, no, why do you start off with... No, yeah, constitution is... Yeah, hit points. 2 and 2, and that's 4, and then... That's so weird. Why does the sorcerer have less hit points? Huh. But yeah, where's our bard? Where's Bard? There it is. Yeah, Bard is having a rough go of it. And fuck, maybe cuz like should we do monk? Should we go cuz like hit die with monk, bard. We've done bard twice though. This would be like if doing another run here is going to be our 3rd Baldlock attempt, and our 3rd bard, and I like it's not working. It's not working. It's rough, but because like. It's bothersome too because it's like, I don't know. I guess it is one of those things where it's like, since keeping our Tav alive is a big determination for whether or not we're going to be able to keep the run going. Because if our Tav dies, game over. But I could have probably like strategized a little bit better in that last fight there, and keep our bard further in the back. Paladin, they just don't die. That is true. Like if I were to make like specifically for the okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Fucking, here's what we're gonna do, chat. Here's what we're gonna do. After all the fucking bajillion windows I just opened, figure their shit out. Let's pull that down. Let's pull that down. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. Chat. Here's what we're gonna do. Oops. Okay. Here's the game plan. Where is it? That one. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fucking write down the rules here. we're gonna write down a core rule set. Because here's the thing. We've been sort of running off of like multiple sort of like different cobbled together rules, right? There is like core rules that for the most part we've been adhering to pretty evenly. But I think writing down the specifics of how we want a Baldlock run to go is going to be a huge part of this whole experience. So getting like core rules. Permadeath, obviously. We're gonna, well, honor mode. No take backsies. Hypermarket. Oh. Permadeath. I'm pretty sure there was like one or two other ones. Let me double check here. Oops, shit. In D&D, dice can be used to determine health, and a monk uses D8, while sorcerer uses a D6, and I think BG3 does all that in the background. Hit dice is short for hit points. Oh, okay. You know what? That actually does make a little bit more sense. I kind of figured that it would probably be based on like a class specific thing. Like they probably use like different dice or whatever. I just wasn't 100% sure. So we're writing down the rules here. So we have something to look back on. Because one of the things that I feel like might have been holding us back was probably what would be considered an optional rule, right? And that was oops. I don't know how to say that better. But no double classes, right? Not multi-classing, but we can't have, actually I suppose I could just write that out. Only one of each class in party. This is one of the optional rules that we've been running with. Only allowing one of each class per party, right? So like if we wanted to do, we could do Paladin, but then like we couldn't get Minthara, right? Because then we would have two Paladins. We could do Berserker, but then we couldn't get Karlach because then we'd have two Berserkers. That I think has been more so just like a flavor rule, right? That's been something that we just kind of like threw in there to make the party setup a little bit more dynamic, right? And I suppose a lot of the focus of the playstyle has been more so on me because I have been making characters specifically in the niche of leaning into charisma, right? Because I feel like if our role is as a forward, the face of the party, then we are going to be the ones who are going to need to succeed in all of our like speech checks and skill checks and whatnot, just to make that aspect of the challenging parts of the game more in our favor, right? Having higher dice rolls and higher chances of success in dialogue is just going to be that's going to be better for our situation. That is not mutually exclusive to anything. We could do a paladin and still mostly lean in that same direction. But again, it overlaps with the only one of each class in party rule, right? Let me look at this thing. Oh yes. Okay, so I'm gonna start just writing down as many things as I can think of and I can find here just to have stuff on here. No multi-classing, which I guess we kind of broke the rules on that one either. But that's more of an optional rule, I think. Whoa, missed it. Barbarian use is the highest at a D12, while wizards and sorcerers are the lowest at D6. Oh, like the dice is. Yeah. So that's why wizards with a high constitution is always going to have less health than a barbarian that has a lower constitution than a wizard. Yeah, because the classes use different dice based on their class to determine health. That makes sense. Okay, so no hirelings. Okay, dead meat's gone. Yeah, no safes coming. Yeah. No multi-classing. Respecking. Is there a K in respecking? Or is it... I guess that's respecting. Well, that's with a T. Whatever. Whoops. Hirelings. No inspiration rerolls. That's an interesting one. Ooh, here's... Oh. No barrelmancy, no exploits. Core rule. That seems like a pretty big no-brainer. I'm seeing one here that says no potion throwing to heal multiple allies, but I'm not seeing. No changing prepared spells except during long rests. Ooh, that's interesting. No swapping companions. Except when first countering them, yeah. No send to camp inventory management during adventures. So, like, if we pick anything up, we would not be able to send it to camp. We would have to carry it with us or sell it. That's crazy. I feel like maybe the no multi-classing or respecking is probably going to be closer to a core rule. I feel like it should be... I don't quite know about multi-classing, but like no respecking definitely seems like a pretty valid one. What are you guys thinking? What should, if you guys were making the rules for a Bald Lock run, what would be like the core rules? Obviously, like the permadeath, honor mode, no glitches, exploits, stuff like that are going to be like the obvious like core rule things. But like as far as like other rules, right? Because like again, this right here has sort of been like the thing that's gotten us in the most stress here. Only one of each class in party. We don't exactly have a whole lot of flexibility if we're trying to make our character more of a speech crafting character. We're pigeonholed to like a very small number of classes, and it's basically like Bard is the best one. Right, so maybe the multi-classing thing, or not multi-classing. Maybe the one of each party in class. Wow, one of each class in party thing should be omitted. That way we have a bit better chance of not having a lost state. Specifically because our Tav got murderized. Maybe that would be a smart decision. Trying to think of some other some other solid rules. Oh yeah, there was like the no healing during combat. Let me pull up the Nuzlocke rule set. I've listed all hit die here for you if that helps. That might help, yeah. Barbarian is 12, Fighter, Paladin, and Ranger is 10. Cleric, Bard, Druid, Monk, Rogue, and Warlock, and Artificer are all D8, and Wizard and Sorcerer is D6. Yeah, so if we were... Because, like... I don't know. I still feel like going with a character that has, like, a naturally higher charisma is probably going to be the way that we go regardless. Again, just so our character can more so fill that niche of being a... being the speech check guy. But... I feel like, God, I feel like, yeah, the party face. I feel like having it be a denser character, right, is going to be better because we still like, again, like with a Nuzlocke run, there's not exactly like, oh, the what is it? There's not exactly like an easy win condition for the game, right? Like the game is trying to beat us, right? And the easiest win condition for them is killing our tab. So that's the easiest way for a bald lock run to end. So playing as a character that is either just stronger in general, either because they are capable of like staying at range and like, you know, dealing a lot of damage from the back end, like, you know, a ranger or a rogue or like a sorcerer or anything like that. That makes more sense. But then you also have the flip side of that where you could also play like, you know, a paladin or a berserker or something that's just like naturally bulkier in the specific situation that we're in, where we're trying to like be like the party face and whatnot. The charisma focus does make a little bit more sense. So playing as a paladin again makes more sense. It's funny because I wanted to intentionally like not play as a paladin because I feel like I always sort of like spiral into this sort of like everything becomes crab sort of situation. And I'm like, okay, I want the most optimal of everything that I can get. And it just always comes back around to, the fucking paladins, which I think is just so funny. Okay, let me see here. Nuzlocke rules. Limited encounter. The player can only catch the first wild Pokemon. Okay, so that's not really something that's applicable to us. The dying thing is they die, they're gone. Mandatory nicknames, that's not applicable either. Everybody's got a name already. Meet in confirmation. If the player is unsure whether a location is a valid new encounter or not, such as multiple levels in a cave, they can look at the Pokemon's summary page. Oh, okay, so that's that. Yeah, full team wipes. Boxing. So here's the thing that sort of gives a Nuzlocke run a much easier flexibility about it, right? Again, you can always get more Pokemon. And so like if you have a full team wipe, like that's game over, right? But if you like are able to win an encounter and you still have like one Pokemon left, you can always like rebuild. We can't really do that in this case. we're kind of jobbed as far as what we can do with with who we have, right? We don't have the ability to gain more companions beyond who we already have. And because our Tav specifically is, again, like the biggest target of like an end game state. Because here's the thing. The Tav dying for Charisma, Paladin, would front, Sorcerer, back, and Warlock and Bard midline. Yeah, because even though Bard is like a very sort of like support role, they can still be a little bit like combat friendly, right? Sorcerer's absolutely not. Sorcerer has to stay like way in the back. So I mean, that's kind of one of the interesting things with Bard specifically. They can play that midline specifically because they have like healing abilities and can like kind of hold their own in a fight. Not great, but like not horribly. Whereas like Sorcerer again is just like this, you're staying way in the back. You know what? I think we are going to have to go with a I think we are actually going to have to go with a Sorcerer build, cuz so let me see here. Cap, no evolving. The daycare. It says no child support. The daycare cannot be used. That's funny. No items may be purchased from NPCs. The player must rely on what they find in the overworld to receive or receive for free. And like that's also another interesting rule. Like no buying from vendors, right? We can't buy anything. We can only sustain ourselves off of what we find in the overworld, which again for a Pokemon Nuzlocke run that has a bit more flexibility around it. Not as much Baldur's Gate. It's very much one of those things where like we could probably like find enough like, you know, natural resources in the world, and then just like, you know, set potions and whatnot to like keep ourselves alive. Plus, we can't use healing spells in battle, but we can use healing spells outside of battle. So we have that, right? We can do that. And that's easier, to as far as like survivability goes, right? Like we run out of potions, and then we can just we can just use healing spells outside of battle, which means we kind of go negative on spell slots, which is kind of a big bummer. Especially if we're including that one rule that we saw where it's like you can't long rest out like unless you've done like a legendary battle, right? Unless you fought like a boss. You can only long rest after that. And we got all the way out of the grove and didn't. And the first actual like boss fight that we ran into was a modded one, and it fucking cleaned our clocks. So we didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to really heal. That was rough. Oh yeah. No escaping battle. a lot of the ones I'm looking at here on the Nuzlocke run are like increased difficulty ones, which I guess the no bind thing is definitely like an increased difficulty thing. Okay. Challenge mode, speed run. Decreased difficulty. Interesting. Interesting. Wonderlock, that's funny. Different variants. Okay, okay, so no soft resets. I'm looking for like healing things. I wanna see. Okay, so okay, so this is battle specifically. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that that the no healing during combat thing should be more of a core rule, right? We can still heal. We just can't do it during combat. That makes sense. I feel like the no respecking thing is also... I feel like that also is pretty solid. That's a good one. As far as like the core rules, right? I feel like no buying from the vendors is sort of like a more optional one. That's like a harder core rule, right? Because in like I already don't really like spend a whole lot of money on like buying stuff from shops anyway. So if I were to do that, it would probably be like, you know, fucking like, you know, filling up on potions, filling up on like food, specifically camp supplies, you know, that kind of stuff. Guess that's optional rules. No resets, no cheating, full wipe, no outside trading, boxing. I guess it would probably be like more so like this. Just to have like these rules. So like these I feel like these three specifically would be like the main core rules, and then these two down here would be like near universal, right? Like you can kind of make an argument that like respecking is fair. Oops, wrong one. Respecking is fair because honor mode is fucking nuts. But at the same time, I don't know if we can I don't know if we can really really lean on that too heavily. If you're doing mono class, I did like Hexblade Warlock and used the Spell Shadow build. It was that build I was for my tab in my honor mode. But it does have upsides and downsides. What are the upsides and downsides of the Hexblade? Because the Hexblade actually kind of sounds interesting because it's a warlock, but then you can start using like heavier weapons and medium armor. And that actually sounds pretty solid for for a blah for a warlock. Oh, Shadowblade spell. Yeah. No hirelings, no buying from vendors, no escaping battle. Maybe we would probably do like this, actually. Because like here's something interesting that I thought, right? Technically the existence of the hirelings is in a is the hirelings exist as additional support, right? That's the role that they play. Comparatively, run with me on this one, chat. In a Pokemon Nuzlocke run, you have the flexibility of if a party member dies, you can replace them with somebody else. In Baldur's Gate 3, in a Baldlock run, you can't really do that, right? Because there's a limited number of characters in the game that you can hire on. So, you just can't do that, right? You can't hire on more characters. You can't bring in new characters because there's no more characters to bring in. Here's the thing, though. If a hireling dies, they're dead, right? But here's the caveat that I think can make it closer, like near closer, to a Nuzlocke run. Let me posit this question to you, chat. What if we made the rule set as it is? So, permadeath, honor mode, no barrelmancy, no exploits, no cheating, anything like that. You play it straight, character dies, in honor mode, they're dead, gone forever. What if, in order to balance that, in the whole, like, replacing party members thing, what if we made it so that you can replace members of the party who die with a hireling, but then if that hireling dies, they can, be replaced with a different hireling or whatever. But you can, so I'm forgetting like names and stuff of the hireling specifically, but let's say you have one hireling specifically who dies, and they're dead, but because the hirelings are sort of like blank slates in a sense, like they're definitely like, oh, I want to get like, a bard, or not a bard. No, yeah, there's a bard. I want to get a bard, or I want to get like a different druid, or like a paladin, or whatever, like whatever classes they are, a ranger. I want to get them on my team. So you bring them on, and then we're playing with them, and then they die. But then, because they're blank slates, they're dead. But then you can bring them back, but they have to be respect as a class different than the one they were before, right? What are we thinking on that? Because then that way you constantly have an influx of replenishable party members, right? But I guess that was actually it. It sort of solves the issue with running out of characters if you eventually like end up losing all of them, right? Like, let's say, maybe not like in like a full team set, right? Because the reason, the main purpose we're doing a full team is so that we can, get all of the like core origin companions with us, right? Karlach, Will, Shadowheart, yada yada yada. We can get all of them with us, but if we go on and like, you know, they end up dying through, you know, misadventure, bad clicks, fucking dumb bullshit, all that lucky hits, whatnot, they end up dying. And then let's say that if we get down to like 4 people, right, then we can hire like an additional hireling or a hireling after that. At that point is where we can begin redrawing hirelings. And then I guess there would need to be some rules around that specifically. Like, you know, there's a mod that I have that will unlock and you can hire like more than just 4 more than just 3 hirelings. But there could be like a cap beyond that, right? Like maybe because like I don't really want to do it to where like, oh, you know, like the cap for the entire party is just like based on how many people you can get across the board, right? How many you know, named origin companions you can recruit, you know. I know Halcyon isn't an origin companion, but you know, like you count Halcyon, you count Jaheira, you count Minx, Menthara, all them. And so like in total, counting you, I believe there'd be 11, 12 party members total. So it's like I don't really feel like it would be like the best to go with like, you know, oh, now because all of them are dead, you know, I can just replace all 11 or like 10 or 11 of them with hirelings. You know what? Let me actually check something. That's a good question. Let me double check. We're gonna go behind the scenes and we're gonna load up my main save here real quick, just because I have withers here. I suppose I could have loaded up my save and just like told somebody to fucking leave and head back to camp so I could look for it, since that save is fucking cooked anyway. All right, here's the thing for the hex blade. Upside, you're going to be doing a lot of damage endgame, 80 to 100 per turn. You get to use medium armor, hexblade curses. It's a level 1 ability, Eldritch Blast, and 2 attacks, Pact of the Blade, level 3. And charisma is the attack modifier, which is a pretty big, that's a pretty big upscale for, that's a pretty big upscale for warlocks. What are the downsides though? Oops. Camp, here we go. Where's Withers?
We should do what we can to find them.
Where are you, you skeleton goober? Thara, Gale. Where is he? Is he over here? Us.
Have to keep going.
Oh, there he is. On his raised platform. Where's Minthara? I thought I saw Minthara. Ah, yeah, there she is. She's some crazy ass armor. I don't remember what the helmet is, but I know that the armor she's wearing is Ketheric Thorm's armor.
I should speak up.
Fate, dost thou require a new ally?
Hireling.
Very well.
Good hireling. Okay, how many hirelings do we have? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then... let me see here. How many companions are there in total? I always forget because my brain is very small. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 11 characters total plus us. But then, like, part of that is the is that if we don't, I think if we don't get Jaheira, Minx doesn't team up with us. So that's kind of that's 2 off the board right there. So again, here's what I'm thinking. If we are in a situation where we have like a total party wipe, right? Our whole party, all of our friends, all of our friends are dead, right? If that's the situation, let me get a little bit more complicated with it. We only have 6 origin companions, right? And then 4 non-origin companions. So, do we want our rule set? Let me bring that back over here. Now that I can see this stuff back here. For our rule set, do we want to make it so that if our team members die, and they die in such quantity to where we fall below 2, 4, 6, 7. So counting us, that'd be 7. It'd be 6 origin characters plus us, making 7. If our team falls below 7 characters, then we can start adding hirelings. And if a hireling dies, we randomly pick a new one to resurrect in their stead. And if that random pick results in a hireling that we have already picked, right? Let's say Jacelyn here. We had Jacelyn on the team. He's a sorcerer. He died. Now we got a oh my god. So yeah, we get him the first time. He's a sorcerer. He died. We pick somebody else, and then the random number generation picks Jacelyn again, but we have to do like a random multi-class on him, right? So he goes from being a sorcerer to being I don't know, maybe like a monk in that situation, abiding by the like no multiple classes, right? You can't have like only one of each class in party. You can only have one of each class. So he would have to be if we have a sorcerer in the game, he would have to be somebody else. Or no, sorry. Since he was a sorcerer last time, he can't be a sorcerer again. So he would have to be a different class, but he can't be the same class as somebody else. So like if we have Sinizith here, right? Sinizith is the monk. If Jacelyn got brought back, and his random generation pointed like, oh, he's going to be a monk this round, because Sinizith is also a monk, we would have to roll it again. What do you guys think of that? That might actually be like an interesting like actual way to play the game, right? Like maybe not like an alternate, like kind of technically an alternate way to play the game, but a different style, right? Because the origin companions are sort of like leaning on like the main game or like the main story. If we just kind of like, set them aside and focused on hirelings, it makes it a little bit more dynamic because we're not really, I guess most of that is just, it sounds interesting. It sounds a little bit more kooky and wacky. Plus, I guess in a situation like that, we could technically make it so that if our Tav dies, then we can do the random number generation thing and sacrifice somebody else, and then they die in our stead, and then we come back to life, and then if we're below that 7-player or that 7 party member limit, we go in here and fucking summon somebody new, right? That's interesting. That's an interesting way to go about it. Because now I kind of really like the hireling idea, and that's kind of making me think how that like is gonna balance, right? And one of the things that I'm thinking is like, House Ninja and Minx are all like good aligned characters. So like, whatever like good stuff that they or that to like balance like not having more origin companions be on our side, and instead having like more space freed up for like hirelings and stuff like that, because hirelings are just like a blank slate. Like they're down for whatever. To get them in the spin there, which in that case kind of makes me think that maybe we should just do a dirge run. That'd be kind of interesting. Especially since I haven't really done a dirge run before. I've gotten what's the farthest I've gotten? I've gotten to the Grove, but I don't think I actually made it out of the Grove. And again, since most of our characters are going to be like aligned more so in a good direction, like Gale, Karlach, Shadowheart. Shadowheart kind of. Shadowheart and Lae'zel both kind of. Will definitely. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do a dirge run. And then we have a higher chance of companions sloshing off naturally, and then we can replace them with hirelings. This feels forced at this point. This feels more like I'm trying to make the rule set match towards what I think would be an interesting run. But as far as the main rules go here, one of each class. Yeah, that feels more like an optional rule. Yeah, the healing thing. That feels more like an optional rule thing. No buying from vendors. No escaping battle. Yeah, most of this stuff feels more optional. No hirelings. I feel like the respec multiclass is definitely. See, now I'm just trying to figure out how to make the rules fit to allow for that, like, you know, opening up of the hirelings as a viable option for refilling the party in case it dies. Because again, like, that's the thing with a Baldlock run specifically. There's not a lot of flexibility. Like, if characters start dropping, they're dropping, and I feel like it would be very hard to actually make it to the end of the game without anybody dying, right? So having no hirelings and no respecking specifically, I could see like no multiclassing being a pretty consistent near universal rule, but having like a clause specifically for hirelings, that feels like it would be more flexible. Or we could just go straight like recycle economy and just like not worry about any of the companions and just specifically only hire from hirelings. That would actually probably add like an interesting level of randomization to the hireling thing. You pick, like, it's because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so there's 12. So you, like, you know, you roll a 1d12, random number, 1, 12, that's the one that you go with. They become one of your 7 party members. And then you roll again randomly for class. That's kind of interesting. Fuck, now I actually kind of want to do that. Like, fuck the story. Like, you know, fuck the companions. We're going raw numbers playthrough. That's actually kind of interesting. because it adds a degree of again, randomization, because you're getting a random character, which, like, again, is just like the character themselves. You could always, like, edit appearance and then just fucking randomize appearance, and then, like, oh, now you have somebody completely different. And then again, it's like mostly the class thing. It adds an element of, again, that, like, recycling economy that's, like, built into a Nuzlocke run. Maybe that's what we should do. That does, because, like, they're not like all the different races. I don't believe the 12 people here cover all of the different races, but they cover most of them. Like, the Dragonborn isn't in here. And neither is the no, yeah, there's a gnome. Yeah, and there's a dwarf. So, like, it covers most of them, but the class thing is, like, the real clincher. So maybe we should do that. That's kind of interesting. There's the things I'm looking at here. There we go. We would still be honoring permadeath. We would still be honoring honor mode. No barrelmancy. No multi-classing. I feel like that'd be valid. That makes sense. We could stick to the optional rules of only one class, only one of each class in party. No healing during combat. No buying from vendors. No escaping battle. Specifically, like, again, I'm like, there's like some things that you can get from the vendors that are probably, like, helpful, like certain armor, like, early on, before getting, like, certain legendaries would probably make a whole lot of sense. But I don't really buy a whole lot of stuff from the vendor, so I don't think that would be a huge downside. And then no escaping battle. That's a pretty straightforward one. The hirelings thing would be, I feel like that would have to be, like, its own clause, right? Because it's specifically, like, an economy thing. Filling in that economy of where's the, I'm looking at the thing here. Basic rules, new universal rules. No, that's the meet in confirmation. I guess it would technically be part of the, like if we're looking at, like, the rules for we're looking at the rules for the Nuzlocke run. The primary rule is the limited encounters. The player may only catch the first wild Pokemon encountered in each area and no others. If the first wild Pokemon encounter faints or flees, there is no second chances. So you're, like, locked into that. But it still is that, like, very action economy thing, right? And I guess it could kind of apply the same here, where, like, there's only so many, like, it is like, a fucking big number of characters. There's 12 characters, and then there's what, like, 13 different classes. My headphones died, and I'm in public, so the downside will be it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so there's 12. So there's, like, fucking a bajillion different combinations of characters that we can get for all of these. 12 individual people who all can be one of 12 individual races. So there's a lot of, like, constantly coming back. If we did, like, a full party, we, like, under that rule set, we would very easily be able to get to the end of the game with 7 characters, with a full party of 7, regardless. Like, that's just happening. That is going to happen. But The downside, is that then we'd be using the hirelings, which I guess if we're not buying anything, that would be something that we're spending money on. But then it is kind of, I don't know, that still kind of feels like it's breaking the rules of permadeath. I also just realized that I had spelled as perm death. Oh no. My hairstyle, it's gone. There's a lot of like, you know, ifs in this whole situation. Or maybe not even like ifs, but like a lot of like, you know, what kind of playthrough do we want this to be, right? Do we want it to be like brutally punishing to where like you're only locked into like I don't know how many people like do bald lock runs like this, but like I feel like a bald lock run where you're only limited to like 4 player, you know, a team of 4, that like that's maybe I'm just like generally bad at the game. And there's people who can do fucking like I mean, there obviously are people who can do honor mode runs and you know, make it work, but like that's an uphill struggle. That is rough. That is a rough challenge mode. And you know, I'm for like a good, you know, hard challenge, but like that seems crazy. that's next level. But more so because there's not that replenishing economy, right? You can't rebuild after fucking losing like a main contender like you can in Pokemon. Only one of each class and party. Well, actually, let me put that over there. Because like if we limit the party to like 7, right, as like the recovery point, right? Again, I think we could probably go with like, you know, having it be, what was it again? 11. So let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so there's 10 total, and then with us is 11. So that means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that means that there would still be one class left out in like a full team. I mean, like, technically more than that, because if we're going with just origin and non-origin companions, the story companions, two of them are druids. So that kind of knocks an additional one out. So we're missing like 2. Bunk. It'd be monk, bard, and sorcerer, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I don't know. I'm conflicted. No healing during combat, no buying from vendors, no escaping battle. Yeah, that's all good. I feel like the no revival scroll things make sense. Oh, how's that going to work with welcome back. How's it going? We're still sort of because like I feel like we've basically gotten like the bald lock run rules, but then I was thinking like, because in Pokemon, you know, there's a way to replenish your party, right? You can there's like a limited amount of time to do it, but you can always replenish your party by, you know, catching a new Pokemon in a route that you haven't caught one yet in, or like using one that you did catch in a route, and, you know, pull them out of the box or whatever. In Baldur's Gate 3, if we're not including hirelings, we're like really stuck with only those, I keep forgetting, 10? Yeah, with only those 10 companions. Astarion, Gale, Karlach, Lae'zel, Shadowheart, Will, Halcyon, Jaheira, Minx, and Minthara. And even if we're like generous with ourselves and are all like, okay, we're going to make it so that if our Tav dies, because so far that's the big wall that we've been constantly running into, our Tav getting murdered because they're so soft and squishy. If our Tav dies, we do a dice roll to, you know, determine like who is going to die in our stead, right? And in the situation that we're in our other playthrough there, the one we failed, or the second one that we failed, we could do that. We could just like, you know, Tav gets a mulligan because that's the only way that we can keep playing the game. Tav gets a mulligan, but somebody else has to go in our stead. That's 2 out of the 6 people that we have alongside us. So 2 out of the 7 are just gone. That takes us down to 5 players, because it's still going to be a while until we can get Halcyon, Jaheira, Minx, or Minthara. So we can't restore our party outside of them. So it's like if we, so like let's say that we can't, you know, it's permadeath. We can't bring anybody back except the Tav, right? And the only, it's It's like we can lose, we can die, we can fully fail the run. But in order to do that, all of the companions, all of our origin companions would have to die before we have the option to recruit Halsin or Jaheira, right? If Gale's dead, if Astarion's dead, if Karlach, Lae'zel, Shadowheart, Will, if all of them die in Act 1, then that's game over, right? Tav gets infinite mulligans because that's literally the only way we can continue playing the game, or at least progressing the game, I believe. Let me actually double check that real quick. Can you beat BG3? Continuing the game with the dev tab. Tab dies and I do not revive him. Can you still play the game? There are points where you need the party leader. The game might also auto-revive you, e.g. when moving to the next act. Yeah, so we would have to... my message is failing to send. Let me check here. Oops, that's the wrong... I'm on the wrong tab. Or on the... Yeah, on the wrong thing here. Hold on. Oh, actually... Hold on a second. Let me do this. There we go. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing that anything got blocked. I'm not sure why it's not sending. Maybe there's like some. I don't want to be one of those like it's a you problem. But I'm not seeing anything like getting blocked or deleted or anything on my end. So like it could be something going on your side. Okay. Weird. Might be too long. It could be. It could be that. I know there is a limit to how much you can type in a in Twitch, so you might have to split it up there. Okay, so. All right. How about that? How about that as a as a caveat rule there? We can't hire any hirelings unless the so we're thinking as a team of 4, right? Let's say we're on just a 4-person team. We're just on a 4-person team, and all of our backup people at camp are all dead, right? And we're down to 3 total, so us and 2 other companions. We can either fucking Like, it would be one of those situations where, like, somehow we would have to power through with only 3 people. But the hireling rules specifically opens it up so that we can replenish the party to an extent. If we keep fucking up and keep dying, yeah, we're eventually going to fail the run. Because our Tav can constantly be brought back to life. But if the entire party over the entire course of the run dies, that's game over. Just to add that little extra amount of survivability. I would probably say more so for the first act, because I feel like I've had higher likelihood of dying and not being able to make a comeback in Act 1 than any other act. Just like the game in general, right? I feel like more there's a higher chance for companions to get downed and die, specifically because they're, like, you know, softer and squishier, especially compared to, like, some of the higher end enemies later on, or not later on, but some of the stronger enemies in the game. So maybe this is a good balance for that specifically, right? We don't have to worry about going, like, full team wipeout, right? Where we lose all the origin companions and then, you know, the non-origin companions are just blocked out, right? We won't run into a situation where we have that happen super often. You know, if Gale or Karlach or Lae'zel or anybody, if any of them die, you know, and we drop, like, desperately low to where, like, any other battle we get into, it's going to be a massive struggle, we still have the hireling pool to choose from. So that, I think, is a decent optional rule. We could do this. Like that. Like it's a sub-clause. Oops. There we go. And then just an asterisk. Just to have it there. So yeah, something like this. Permadeath mode. Honor mode only. No barrelmancy or exploits or anything. No multi-classing. I could probably do, like, no healing during combat up here. That feels like a closer to like near universal role. Yeah. How does this look, chat? What do you guys think of this? Again, I think the biggest deviation is mostly the hireling thing, but that, again, that's to allow for additional flexibility in replenishing our party should we start going negative with, like, certain characters, right? Because, like I said, with the other run we were doing there, our Tav is dead, Lae'zel is dead, and then the option there is in order to continue, we would have to bring the Tav back to life, specifically by sacrificing another player, which I guess in that instance, or another character, but I guess in that specific instance, that would be a core rule. What is it? Tav lives. Tav can be revived at the cost of sacrificing a random companion. Something like that, right? Because that ensures that we stay in the game. But it also has a cost to it, right? So if we're constantly, like, even if we were playing as, like, a stronger character, like a berserker or something, there is a consequence to playing stupid and constantly putting your Tav in a bad situation. Okay, so that was the downside. Okay, the upside. No permanent Shadow Blade. There is a way using hirelings, but that might be a bit too exploity for the run. So I'll have so I'll have to use a spell slot every time you long rest, but with the rules, that might not be that bad if you only rest after a boss fight. Okay. Lastly, the blade is psychic damage, which stuff is rarely resistant / immune to. So it's good damage type, but stuff like the Steel Watchers are immune, but they get tossed around with Eldritch Blast. Yeah, plus if you, I think like narratively, if you do it right, you don't really have to worry about the Steel Watchers. I think you can sort of like turn them all off at some point. This is just my build for Hexblade, so I didn't use Shadowblade. Okay, fair. You missed one? What did I miss? What do you mean I missed one? Did I miss one? What did I miss? Uh-oh. Is it in the rules? Did I fuck up? Oh, no. Oh, dear. There's a paragraph above the first one you read. Above the no permanent Shadowblade one. I mean, you talked about the downside. Oh, okay, so I missed that one. Yeah. Downside, takes time to build up. Shadowblade is a second level spell that you don't get the big piece until you reach the colony in Act 2. The Resonance Stone. The Resonance Stone itself is a double-edged sword, but it's really good for the build. Okay. And then the no permanent Shadowblade stuff. Okay. Here, downside. Yeah, I saw it there. It's still on my screen here. I'm just really trying to figure out the rules for this Bald Lock run, because I feel like this is a good balance here. Where it's like we still can't use the hirelings until there's like not enough people to fill out the party. And then it opens that pool up, and then if we lose people there, permadeath still applies. So if we continue to like really fuck it up, we will eventually run out of companions there as well. And I feel like that's a decent balance, to sort of allow for that restoration economy, but also not like, immediately opening it up. Sorry, I'm just reviewing some of the Nuzlocke rules here, just to really suss this out, because I feel like there may be like one or two things that I'm sort of like overlooking, but I think I mostly got a pretty solid setup here. Yeah, because here's... So again, like, here's the thing. With the party thing, I suppose I could do this as well, just to, like, cover that. I suppose I should do... where is it? I was gonna say we should have like a core rule for the mods, but I feel like maybe that would be a more like near universal thing. And then maybe that's more of like an, because like I feel like the mods, yes, and it's like we're doing that, but we're only using like what, 2 mods. One specifically makes the game harder, because the other one makes it so that we have a higher we can bring more companions with us. Which is specifically so that we can have more of the origin companions, which the origin companions, because they're like named and like actual characters, is part of the whole what is it? It's part of the whole fucking what's the word? That is the thing that, like, because like the big part of a Nuzlocke run is like naming your characters, and then there's supposed to be like an emotional attachment from that standpoint, right? And then that just makes the story more like the story of your run more interesting and more dynamic, because then it's like, oh my god, we fought this battle, it was so fucking rough, and like fucking Jack over here fought so hard, but then he fucking like, oh, he died because a Houndour fucking set him on fire or whatever the fuck, you know, shit like that. It creates a narrative. With the Baldlock run, that does basically the same thing. Like, oh yeah, fucking Astarion like came in clutch for us. But again, after they die, we don't have the ability to replenish to that same extent and keep the run going. It's like we're just limited to those, originally, at least in Act 1, those 6 companions to carry us all the way through Act 1, to like potentially, we get Halcyon if we do like specific stuff during the start of Act 2, and then we don't get Jaheira until the end of Act 2. Minthara we could kind of get at the beginning of Act 2 as well. So we kind of go +2 at the beginning of Act 2. But then Act 3, or sorry, we don't get Jaheira until the end of Act 2. So for the first 2 acts, we only get 9 companions, which it sounds like a lot, but like as we've already seen, there are plenty of opportunities to fucking just have something go catastrophically wrong, and then that's game over. By opening up the hireling pool as an additional option, we are ensuring that we're able to continue the game for longer. And I feel, because I was originally thinking like, oh, you know, then like if a hireling dies, we can resummon them, but they have to be like, you know, a different, they gotta be a different companion, or not a different companion, a different class. What we could actually probably do is make it so that we have, because I'm pretty sure we can like rename. Can we rename the hirelings? I don't remember. Interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of a little bit what I'm like kind of a little bit thinking there. But then, like, yeah, part of it is still the, like, you know, only one of each class part. So at least starting, I believe so. Yeah. Again, I also think so. At the mirror. Yeah. But so then, like, because, like, here's the thing with the, because, like, again, it wasn't really like a hard and fast rule. The, you know, only one of each class shtick right there. We just kind of threw that in to be a little bit more dynamic. But if we were to get rid of that rule, then we have a bit more flexibility in what kind of character that we can create. And then, I was going to say, and then we can sort of like apply that to all the other people that we eventually bring on. If, you know, we have, you know, team wipes and shit like that. We can apply it to that. But then that sort of is like another, like, if statement thing. Like, we have to meet certain conditions in order for this specific rule to come into effect, which I don't really like that as a rule, because rules are supposed to be like hard and fast. Like, the hiring thing is just to create that additional resource economy, like replenishment economy. Whereas the one of each class rule is really just like, you know, a flavor thing, right? To create more diversity in combat. You know, we don't want to have like a whole team full of like fucking barbarians, right? Which, like, we couldn't, because, like, you know, we can't respec. So then we would want to do respecking. Okay. Give me one quick second. I gotta pee real quick. All right, I'm back. If I remember correctly, there are 12 hirelings, one for each class. Yeah. There are, and that's, I suppose, because that was one of the things that I was talking about before too. I think you might have been out with headphone issue before. But that was another thing that I was kind of talking about as like a way to like keep that action or that team replenishment economy going, right? If a hireling dies, we can resurrect them, but they are resurrected as like a different class, right? But if the hireling, if we, because that specifically goes against like respecking and multi-classing, right? And that's a pretty like near universal rule. We can get away. So again, like here's the thing: we can get away with the only one of each class in it says in party with a Y. Only one of each class and party, right? That's our rule set, or that's an optional rule set. And then the downside there is we can't respec. So if we're sort of like planning ahead, which we kind of have to, in order to know, like, because we could always like, you know, again, go with like a wizard or a barbarian and just like leave Gale or Karlak, I guess, at camp, or like intentionally kill them or whatever, which kind of feels fucked up. Kind of feels fucked up and mean. But there are ways that we can make it so that we are the only person in that class. But if we're looking ahead and we take into account all of the classes that are in the game as companions, rogue, wizard, barbarian, fighter, cleric, warlock, again, on and on and on, we're only left with like 3 classes that we can pick from off, you know, at that point. And then it's like, you know, we can always replace the people that we lose with other companions, but then the problem again is we can't respec. So if we pick, like, again, you know, a bard or a sorcerer or a monk, you know, any of them, I think that might actually be it. If we replace it with any of them, we can't get that other hireling, right? We can't get Jacelyn if we go with warlock. We can't get Sinizith if we go with a monk, right? We're locked out of that, which is why I kind of feel like the only one of each class in party rule should be removed, because the no multi-classing and no respecking rule, that feels proper. That feels like a proper rule. But then the only one of each class thing feels more like a suggestion, right? Because again, with the like original play style we were going with, we were eventually going to have 2 characters, regardless, that we're going to have the same class. Both Halsin and Jaheira are druids, so we would either have to pick one or the other, or just accept the fact that we have 2 druids on the team, which is kind of already, you know, breaking the rule there. But then it's also it's also adhering to the multi-class rule, or the respecking rule specifically. So it's like we can't respec Halsin or Jaheira, so we just have to like leave them at camp. We just get them and then they just live at camp, like uselessly. They don't do anything. They can't do anything. We can't even use like their buffs or anything. So I feel like the one of each class party rule should probably be taken out, because it's overtly limiting in this situation, right? Because it limits who we can make for our party, and then it also later on makes at least one of the characters just absolutely useless, right? Again, either Halsin or Jaheira would have to just be a permanent bench warmer. They live at camp now. And there's nothing we can really do about that. They just become a useless character. And even if it's like a situation where, like, you know, somebody wants to, like, you know, riz up Halsin and get on his good side and like, oh, I got my husband back at camp. He's fucking making stew or whatever, being a big strong man. That also doesn't work, because unless you like swap out Jaheira, or are doing like a dirge run or whatever and never play as Jaheira, or never like obtained Jaheira as a companion, you can't bring him with you and like get his approval for like doing, you know, specific tasks and stuff. He's just stuck there. He's doing nothing. I guess there is a reality where, or there is a timeline where you keep him in the party, go all the way through Act 2. He's your boyfriend now. And then, you know, you either keep playing with him until your relationship with him is maxed out, and then you send him back to camp, and then swap Jaheira in, which, I don't know, to me, Jaheira feels like a lesser, like, not as good of a combatant compared to Halsin, but, you know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, so that's, fucking rambling there. To the main point, the only one of each class I think is gonna have to be the rule that we remove, because then we're caught in a catch-22 if we have both Halsin and Jaheira, because we don't only have one of them on the team at a time because they both share the same class. So that rules out. No buying from vendors, no escaping battles. Hireling rules. Hirelings may only be recruited if there are enough if there are not enough companions to fill a party. Permadeath still applies. And because we're playing as modded, our party minimum is going to be 7, and our maximum is going to be 11, which means if we have literally anybody die, maybe not anybody, but if we have like what? I guess it would technically be 4. if we have more than 2 people die in Act 1, that's kind of setting the stage for what Act 2 and 3 are going to look like. Especially since there's some gnarly traps in Act 2. Plus, we haven't even fucking like the fucking what is it? The other mod we have installed, which makes combat like harder. Not harder, but it makes more. It adds more combat situations, right? It adds more places in which we can experience combat, and like, you know, additional mini bosses and stuff like that. Which is cool, but those fucking skeletons kicked our ass last time. So it's gonna be a situation where, like, if we keep that mod on, which, speaking of, I'm gonna have to fucking bounce out of here and turn some mods off. If we keep that mod on, then we're just adding more risk onto the playthrough, and potentially like dangerous risk. Ooh, what is this? Backgrounds. I can be a mythical keeper. What the hell? Classes. Is that classes? Gunslinger. What is this? Where's the description? D&D 5.5, all in one of the others. Deeper gameplay, notes, class details, spell behaviors. Okay, there's a whole wiki. Playthrough video. Blooming blade. Cantrips. Oh, what did that say? Dragon's breath. Bleh. What is this? Rest Warden. Sage. Sailor! That could be a fucking pirate. Merchant, Wayfarer. So this says class. And then Artificer. Alchemist, Armorer, Artillerist, and Battlesmith. I don't know if I can say that word on stream. I'm gonna get fucking in trouble for saying that word on stream. What do you mean gunslinger? High roller, spell slinger, white hat. I don't know how does a gunslinger work in D&D? Because I know like D&D is interesting in like a world setting thing, because it's not it's kind of similar to One Piece in like the world is set in like sort of an early industrialization era, right? Like there's machines, but they're not like super refined. They all run on like, you know, steam and magic and stuff like that. It's like right after like the more like colonial era, like post-colonial, but like right before like real industrialization really starts to like ramp up. Warlock Sorcerer. I'm gonna have to like save that. I'm gonna download that, but I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna look at that in my free time. That seems interesting. Dependency. It depends on an MPUI mod. Okay. So turn you off. Leave the dice on because that's just the color of the dice. Turn you off. Hirelings unlock. Turn you off. Turn you off, and then turn you off, and then the adjustable party limit thing is the way to go. So we only got 3 mods. Wait, no, okay. So the dice. Oh yeah, this would be our 4th one. Let me take a look at this again. New mini boss encounters. Okay, so big scary dragon, big scary lady. Oh my god, she has so much health. Look at this. Fucking 234 health. And this is in this is here. So this is in the fucking section where we go with fucking what is it? This is in the section where we meet the where we discover the true identity of the Emperor. Or our dream spirit rather. I'd say 12th to 16th century. Yeah. Like it's in that era where like things are really starting to like become more like automated, and then there's like a stronger dependency on like technology. Well, actually, let me clarify. I was speaking more so when it comes to One Piece, right? That's a very Astral Plane. Yeah. One Piece is set in that very sort of like, you know, like stuff is just about basically the same like the 1700s, like the same time period that like the biggest era of pirating was, or at least like the golden age of pirating, right? That's sort of like the time period that One Piece is set in. But then when it comes to like Baldur's Gate 3 and most other fantasies, it's sort of also again like to that point set in that sort of period, that like 12 to 1600s kind of century, where like we see a lot of like, you know, early versions of firearms and early versions of like, you know, more advanced technologies, but the majority of the technology is still mostly centered around like, you know, like a lot more manual stuff, right? Like bows and arrows, cart and buggy, you know, push and force operated things of that nature. D&D can feel very medieval and magic punk, if that's the thing, vibe. Yeah. Sort of a little bit, because I mean, like that's kind of the thing that like D&D has going for it, just like in general, because it has like a magic system attached to it. Because it has magic at all, it can get away with like a lot of other things that like in any other reality would be like, what? Like how do you make a gun work in this? How do you make like something like a turret work in the world, in this like medieval fantasy setting of Dungeons and Dragons? Like, oh, magic, a wizard did it, that kind of shit. What is this? Forged fire. Okay. And then this was the Goblin Raiders. Oh, fuck. We're going to have to deal with a fucking orc. Or a troll. Jesus. There's still a lot of dudes here. Little John. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do about Little John. The Avalanche. That mummy fucking kicked our ass. Okay, so there's that. There's a mini boss. He was a mini boss. Ah, fuck. That's why he was so hard. He was a mini boss. Allies and enemy up there. Encounter. Yeah, that's where the spider is. Oh yeah, that was a bear. Oh, there's something up there that we missed. Right there. That's like up here, where like Zevlor's right here, and then we go up here. That's where mini boss is, or not a mini boss, an encounter. A couple of encounters in here. I don't think I've ever actually gotten into this area. There was like another area somewhere around here that leads to like an underground area, like a further underground area with like that fish cult. But I never actually got into this back area here. I don't think I ever have. Mini boss. I don't fucking know what this mini boss is. Enemies and allies. Okay. I don't know why I'm looking at this. This fucking doesn't do anything for me. God, I guess we'll see. This fucking kicked our ass. This has kicked our ass once. If you look at some of the settings, there's stuff called Spelljammers, which are spaceships, and the Giths are a spacefaring empire. No, yeah, and that's one of the things that leans into like the more like magical side of it, right? Because like Giths are technically like legitimate, like definitional, like textbook definition, like textbook definition aliens. But because they're in a magical setting, and use again a lot more like magic-based, magic-based attacks, specifically like psychic attacks. And then they use like, swords, bow and arrows, all that good shit. They don't come off as aliens in like the typical sense that we would recognize them as, with, fucking laser beams and shit. If they fucking pulled out like plasma weapons, that'd be an entirely different conversation. But they're not really doing that. They're technical aliens. Let me grab this. That live in that are like quote unquote spacefaring, even though like their concept of like space and stuff is sort of like different planes of existence, but planes could also be used as shorthand for like planet. So it's one of those things where it's like technically, but then it's also like not really, It's a lot of like sci-fi and modern stuff being put into the game, or into the genre rather. But it works because it's all fucking magic. Okay, so okay, that's good. I fucking accidentally moved my mouse up too quickly, too far too quickly, and clicked on the OBS window. And I thought that I had like I thought that I accidentally clicked the stop streaming button, which fucking gave me a mini fucking heart attack. But no, we're good. Okay, let me open up the classes thing, because now that we're not doing one class only, we're a little bit more open. Elithid and Gith would be considered aliens, and they are treated like that in Baldur's Gate 3 and D&D as a whole. Yeah, and like, but from like our perspective, right? The player perspective, the overworld perspective, we don't really think of them in the same way that we think of aliens in a lot of other media, right? The Mind Flayers, definitely a bit more. Mostly because they look like fucking disgusting octopus people, and a lot of their technology is sort of like organic based, and we kind of apply that to like certain higher tier alien species. But for the most part, like Githyanki specifically, maybe because they're humanoid dull, and we see them in a fantasy setting, and we don't really think of aliens being a thing in a fantasy setting. It's a lot of overlapping factors that are all just like narratively designed to make more futuristic sci-fi things fit in a fantasy world. In my humble opinion. Okay, sorry. had a fucking eye thing happen there for a second. I was all of a sudden like, oh my god, something, like, one of my fucking eyelashes is, like, speared into my, not my eyeball, but, like, my eye, and it's like, oh my god, this hurts so much, but in, like, the most tiniest part of my brain. And I just had to fucking, like, you know, clear it, so we're good. Okay, so, here's the thing. We are now unlocked from class, so we can pick any class, and it doesn't matter if we have overlapping classes. It doesn't matter if we have multiple classes in the same party. We are unbridled from that spectrum. So I still probably want to go with a character that is more charisma focused, right? Again, as the face of the party, that is going to be my role, my bigger role with passing speech checks and the like. So like charisma, right? We got the bard, kind of paladin, but paladin is mostly like strength. We'll consider anything that has like 15 or above, right? Because paladin, in my experience, speaking as somebody who runs paladin primarily, you can make a pretty solid paladin. So we got bard, paladin, sorcerer, and warlock. So if we're going specifically for some, because we can technically make anything work as a charisma build, but like it's going to be a much bigger uphill battle to make a fighter high charisma, since they start with literally the lowest charisma in the entire game. So just to have that like start off, right? These are our 4 options: bard, paladin, warlock, sorcerer. Bard has kind of been getting our asses kicked a little bit. So that's I don't know, man. I don't know about bard. Tasha's hideous laughter is unironically though like huge. Being able to knock something on their ass for 10 turns, that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of a big deal in my humbledest opinion. That actually, I think, saved our ass once or twice. So that's kind of a big loss. But again, we've done bard twice, and both times the reason we died, the reason we lost the run, is because our Tav died, and because the bard has a really low hit dice roll. We got absolutely bodied by that. Part of it was I just suck at the game, but that was definitely a big component of it. If you can multi-class paladin, might not be as charisma heavy as bard, sorcerer, or warlock. If you can multi-class paladin, might not be as charisma heavy as bard, sorcerer, or warlock. No, yeah, like that's what I'm saying though. Like paladin, again, as a paladin main, I can make a charisma build work as just like a straight paladin, right? All the way to level 12. It's not going to be as good as warlock or sorcerer or bard or anything like that. But the balance there with a paladin is that the paladin has a much higher defendability. It is a lot easier to survive as a paladin than any other character. But I don't really want to play as a paladin, specifically because I'm playing as a paladin in like my own game. So I kind of want to do something a little bit different. Like we definitely can still play as a paladin, but I kind of want to be a little bit, I want to do a little bit something different. Like try something a little off the beaten path. I think I mentioned before, I sort of like in a dirge run, I was gonna go sorcerer. So I could use this as pre-gaming for a sorcerer, so that when I get into it in my free time, I can like really fucking like let loose and fucking go hog wild with it. And then because like the warlock specifically seems like it could be interesting, because the warlock, as we're seeing, has very similar charisma statisticals as the bard or the sorcerer, obviously. But they seem to be like that next step up in defendability, right? Initiative, yeah. So the bard would go first. And the warlock is built into that charisma stat, and their spell set and stuff relies more on charisma. So they have a higher chance of landing more hits and doing more damage compared to the paladin, because the paladin is going to be using his strength modifier, but we're going to be putting like some early points into charisma just to bring the paladin up to the same base level as like warlock or sorcerer or anything. The only upside is the paladin off rip starts off a little tankier, a little bit more defensive, a little bit more defendable. The balance there is that if we do it right, if we play correctly, we'll be able to keep both. We'll be able to keep, at the very least, barring catastrophic organ failure, we'll be able to keep. We'll have Karlach, Lae'zel, and Shadowheart as sort of like our like main frontline people. Maybe not Shadowheart specifically. We would probably keep her in like more mid-level. But we definitely have a stronger front line, right? The downside of that is Karlach and Lae'zel are our only front lines, and everybody else is either midline or backline, with Astarion and Gale being backline. Halsin / Jaheira would probably be midline. Minthara is definitely frontline as a paladin herself. But then like we don't have a very strong bulwark, right? In like a full team, we don't have a very strong group of goobers to act as like the forward group while people in the back, cast spells and terrain modifiers and shit like that. That can sort of be balanced out with hirelings, but that requires a lot of our people to die already, right? So I'm kind of thinking I'm like thinking ahead, but not just like thinking ahead. I'm thinking like way ahead, right? Probably farther than I should be, but like that's mostly where my mindset is currently. Like as we were talking about before with Warlock specifically, we can make Warlock a lot bulkier and tankier if we go with the like the Hexblade Warlock. But I don't know. I'm I'm just indecisive because I'm trying, like I got so many variables rattling around in my head, and I'm like, okay, well I could probably make a sorcerer work pretty good, and then that means I'm just like farther in the back, because like again, Bard is also sort of like a middle area fighter. They can like kind of survive in like as backup to a frontliner, but they're also not they're also like statistically probably like the weakest physically out of all the NPCs, or out of all the classes. Yeah, even Cleric has a little bit. Cleric has a little bit of something going on, but like Cleric has, I don't know. Cleric has a little flexibility to him. But oh no, yeah, Wizard 8, 9, easy. Yeah, wow. But yeah, but then, like, yeah, there's just a lot of, I don't know, maybe a sorcerer would probably work because, like, you know, Astarian's in the back, Rogue, Gale's way in the back, and then you have 4 other people, Karlach, Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Will, who are all, like, more forward people, and then a sorcerer would be that third back with Astarion and Gale. So that, I guess, kind of works. You have a more balanced back end. But then, as we saw, it's also just really easy to have somebody just, like, die. Just explode to death. But an additional Eldritch Blast is pretty fucking crazy. I'm not gonna lie, Chad. That's actually pretty crack-a-lackin'. But then sorcerers have a lot of flexibility with their spells, and maybe one of the like the best thing we can do, especially in the early game, is just to have that additional level of like field control, right? Because like wizards are definitely more field control focused, but just having that additional magical focus seems like it would probably be a good idea. Like, you know, starting off here, we don't have really any field control spells, but having that additional, even something like Chromatic Orb is pretty solid. Fog is good. Magic Missile is solid. I don't really like using magic-based characters very often because their spell slots are so limited, and like that's their whole attack system, right? So if you run out of spells, you're in a pretty bad place as a spellcaster, and thus you would need to sleep, which in our current build, or our current run rather, with the rules of the Baldlock run, actually I don't think we never actually wrote that up as a rule. So let's add that. Long rest only after boss fight. So that's another optional rule. But that's one that isn't difficult to achieve, but that means we're doing long rests a lot less often, which if we're balancing against if we're balancing with short rests, because short rests are like, you know, cool, those are all right, but with the like long rests are like really important. And if we're only doing that after every boss fight, there's not a whole lot of big bosses. And especially because, like, let me see here. We would probably have to count at least, I forget what her name is, but like that orc lady, who's like Ketheric Thorm's number 2. I'm not 100% sure if we would count her as a boss, but if we're doing it correctly, in my brain anyway, we have like closer to the end point of Act 2, right? We have the surgeon guy in the House of Healing. He counts as a boss, and then we have it is technically a boss encounter because we can fight the Night Song in the Temple of Shar. We have the ability to not to, but I believe that would still count as a boss encounter. So would we be able to long rest after that? Because if we can't, then that means we have to go through the entire Temple of Shar without, like, you know, we would have to go through the entire Temple of Shar, and then we would have to go through the entire the entirety of Moonrise Moonrise Tower, killing Ketheric Thorm fully. We could probably count fighting him the first time as fighting a boss, and then we go through all the stuff in the hive, in the colony, and then fighting him again as an acolyte, as the acolyte of Merkel, as like a second boss fight. So like we could probably get away with that. I'm just thinking like that there's like long stretches between boss fights, and like you can kind of strategically middle them between you can strategically place boss fights, optional ones included, to balance that out, to make it a little bit, less of a thing between each fight. But in Char's Temple, there's Yurgi and Balthazar. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to fight Balthazar, too. Are we doing the legendary actions rule of thumb? So, like, that's the thing. So, the legendary actions rule of thumb thing does seem like it would be a pretty decent rule of thumb. But I'm also sort of thinking, like, what the crux is on that, right? Because all right, so if we're thinking it's like a health thing, like a healing thing specifically, and we're applying, because we're taking a lot of inspiration from a Nuzlocke run, right? And really the only, let me jump back on that actually, because that had a, there we go, Nuzlocke rules. Let me see, because there was something that seemed like it had a really weird, let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, so around healing. Okay, so that's tips. PP. So in a Nuzlocke run, there's only one rule around healing and using healing items and stuff, right? And that is specifically during battle. It says no healing items. Potions and status healing items may not be used. So if we're applying that rule specifically to Baldur's Gate 3, to a Baldlock run, then that only means that the extent of how that rule, directly transfers over, is no healing during fights, right? We can heal after fights, but no healing during fights. And by extent, it seems like we should be able to long rest after just whenever, right? It doesn't seem like there'd be any, because it'd be a thing if like the Nuzlocke rule said like you can't use like not healing items specifically, but like you can't visit a Pokemon Center unless you have, what would that be? It would be you can't visit a Pokemon Center. You can only visit a Pokemon Center like after a gym battle or after clearing a route. You would have to go like these long, something to sort of make it so that you would go these long stretches of time where you're doing a lot of battling, sort of like a gauntlet in a sense, creating these like gauntlet scenarios where you have to go through all this stuff and just like fight and survive and like, think critically and stuff like that, before you can do a long rest where in Pokemon that would be like, taking everybody to a Pokemon Center and just like restoring your health fully. I feel like that's not the done thing in a Baldlock run. I feel like long rest only after boss fight isn't the way to go. I talked earlier about how usually what I do pattern wise is you do a long rest after like completing specific areas or completing major, like ending major narrative arcs, right? So doing all the stuff before you get to the Grove, right? Before engaging in the Grove fight. I would count that as like a major chapter, right? Doing all the stuff in the swamp, right? And taking on the hag. That I would count as a major chapter. Doing all the stuff in the abandoned village, I would get like the void spider and like getting shovel and stuff like that. Specifically the void spider. I feel like that would count as a major chapter. Running through the Temple of Shar, that would count as a major chapter in my mind. It sort of gets a little bit muddier the closer we get to Baldur's Gate, because there's a lot of Baldur's Gate and Act 2 aren't cut up as cleanly as Act 1, right? You have the beach, the grove, the swamp, the risen roads, the village, and the goblin, the goblin camp. They're all neatly boxed away. But then when you get into Baldur's Gate 3 specifically, sure, you have areas like the area, the refugee area, the crossing, I forget the name of the crossing area there. And then you're in Baldur's 3 proper. And then you kind of have like different sections of the city. But like they sort of like missions overlap between them. So it's like you could finish like major story beats, but like be in different areas, right? And it gets a little harder to sort of like, draw the lines when you're in like Act 2 and Act 3. So yeah, long rest limitation stuff feels a little bit not antithetical, but it feels a little bit like overtly cumbersome, right? I could definitely see it being as like, an increased difficulty rule. In fact, I might actually do that. Increased difficulty. And then just keep it like that. Long rest only after boss fights. So like that kind of makes sense. And then we could do like we could do like, other things here. Oops. Looking at other things here. Oh yeah. I guess no buying from vendors in that case. Like if we're sort of like trying to apply the rules of trying to reflect the rules of a Nuzlocke run to Baldur's Gate 3, I guess no buying from vendors would be a more like like this is specifically to make the game harder, right? It says here for increased difficulty, no escape during you can't flee from combat. But that feels more like a... Do I have something like that? Yeah, that's an optional rule. It says it's technically under an optional... It's under optional rule, but it's an increased difficulty rule. So it's one of those things that's like, you can do this, but in... I don't know. I guess, yeah. I think for me, because like, again, like I don't usually buy a whole lot of stuff from the vendors, so like no buying from vendors, I probably wouldn't be doing that a whole lot anyway. Again, outside of like, maybe some potions, maybe some what is it? Maybe like an elixir or two, some like some alchemy stuff, stuff like that. Nothing like super crazy, just like a little bit to sort of like, shore up my survivability. But even then, it's just more of like a luxury thing. Yeah. Let me add... Only use items you find. Yeah. Because that sort of feeds into like no buying from vendors and stuff like that, but more in like an actual rule. Like it's a thing that makes Because I think you can do that, but then also do... I mean, I guess if you include no bind, that kind of like automatically defaults. Like you can only use items you find, you know, in the world. But like, I don't know. Something... It feels like those 2 points are like important to note. But not exactly sure how they cleanly fit into stuff. Camp supplies. Yeah, using actually, you know, that's a fair point. You can only if you activate, if you use you can only use items you find. That's like a harder thing that by default blocks you out of no buying from vendors. But then like again, no buying from vendors would mean if you apply that rule, they're kind of like the same rule or the same effect, just worded as 2 different rules. But I'm gonna leave them both there because like they don't like fit cleanly, but they feel vital, you know? Okay. But as far as a character, let me whoops. Nope, don't do that. Class. Let me see here. I want to look at Warlock real quick. We pick subclass right away with Warlock? I don't think we can. Oh yeah, we can. Okay, I can just look at it here. The Lady or Lord of the Fae, you will imbue with all the sumptuous and scary qualities of your patron's extraordinary realm. Which means we can use sleep, fairy fire, and fey presence. Charm or frighten nearby foes with the beguiling, disturbing magics. This return deadly arsenal of fiendish arcade, which is the one that Will has. Ooh, subclass feature. When you land a critical hit against against creatures, when a creature, that creature and any nearby enemies must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened until the end of their next turn. Yeah, like they have to do it. So whatever our wisdom is doesn't really have any sort of like bearing on how we go about doing that. But we do get access to Tosh's hideous laughter, which again kind of saved our ass once or twice. Knocking an enemy prone for 10 turns, that's ginormous. That's gigantinorphous. But then Hexblade here was the one that you guys kept gassing up. So let's take a look here. You have made a pact with a mysterious entity from the Shadowfell, a force that manifests in sentient magic weapons carved from the stuff of shadows. So that gives a shield, which is kind of nice. Wrathful Smite, possibly frighten your target, and then you have a disadvantage. Or sorry, they have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and be unable to move. Oh, they'll have disadvantage on attack rolls and be unable to move. Okay, so that's pretty solid. Warlock, Sorcerer, Cleric, and Paladin, BG3 only, all get their subclass at 1. Okay. Warlock, Sorcerer, Cleric, and Paladin. Yeah. The Wisdom save is the same as your save spell. Okay. Interesting. Bind, hex weapons. Bind to your main hand weapon. Its damage becomes magical. You cannot drop or throw it. And you become proficient with it if you weren't already. When this attack... Oh, sorry. When you attack with this weapon, there is a chance that Hexblade's curse will be applied to the target. Okay. And then what was this one? Hexblade. Okay, yeah. Curse your target. Your damage roll against a target gains a... Wow. Your damage roll against the target gains a bonus equal to your proficiency bonus, which is going to be charisma for us. The number you need to roll a critical hit while attacking the target is also reduced by 1, which is pretty solid. And then subclass feature. You gain proficiency with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons, which is pretty solid. We can there's some pretty decent medium. There's some pretty decent medium armor. And shields are definitely a big thing. We could technically make the warlock closer to something like a battle mage from Dragon Age, a little bit less bulky than a paladin, not as durable as a paladin, but still pretty durable in its own regard. And then also has access to, like, a handful of spells. And again, Elder's Blast goes fucking crazy. So that's pretty decent. And then again, we have access to some pretty solid spells. Hellish Rebuke on its own is fucking insano style. Hellish Rebuke fucking rocks cheeks. Yeah, and then we have access to a couple of cantrips. Cantrips usually aren't, like, the best things. Like, oh, I can use poison spray. Whoopee. But there's some pretty decent stuff. True Strike would probably be better if it didn't only last 2 turns. That's kind of bullshit. It's kind of lame. Okay. I think we're on to something here. Because the focus is charisma. That's the primary attribute. Oh my god, excuse me. That's the primary attribute, charisma, which helps as far as creating a character that has a high chance of succeeding in speech checks. And then on top of that, charisma is what we use for a lot of our magic-based attacks. I guess after, besides charisma, as far as like stat distribution goes, our biggest focuses would probably be dexterity. Oh wait, no, doesn't. Proficiency with it comes to burn. Didn't it change it so that the attack multiplier, or not the attack multiplier, but the attribute that our bound weapon requires is changed to charisma instead of being like strength or dexterity or anything? Am I tweaking, or was that the thing? Bind your main hand weapon. Its damage becomes magical. You cannot drop or throw it, and you become proficient with it if you weren't already. When you attack with this weapon, there's a chance. Okay, then that's the Curse Blade thing. You gain proficiency with medium armor. Okay. You gain Bind Hexed Weapon, which lets you use... Okay, yeah. Which lets you use your Charisma modifier instead of Strength or Dexterity when attacking with... Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's pretty good. So yeah, that just means that the weapon we choose, we can pick any fucking weapon, bind it to us, and then it's also using our Charisma as opposed to, again, Strength or Dexterity, depending on the weapon. Okay. I think I'm sold. I think I'm sold on the... on Hexblade Warlock. It's probably not the best that we could go with, like stat-wise. But again, with how we're gonna play, it seems like it's a decent. It's decent for survival. It does most of what we wanted to do as the face of the party, and it has a little bit of flexibility as far as access to magic, because we have access to magic as a bard, but the problem is the bard doesn't really have a whole lot of spells specifically designed for, like, not like ranged attacks specifically, but it doesn't have a whole lot of like flexibility with magic. It's not a big magic caster, whereas like warlocks or like sorcerers and stuff like that, they are bigger magic casters. But when it comes to like, well, I guess more so like paladins and warlocks. When it comes to those two, they have a higher, they have more ranged spells that they can utilize, but aren't as like spell flexible as like a wizard or a sorcerer. But the trade-off is that they're more durable. For monoclassing is probably going to be enough. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Again, primarily because I don't want to just fucking default to paladin again, right? I could, especially with having access to like healing spells and stuff like that. Can't use that in combat, but can use those outside of combat. Having an additional person able to use healing spells besides fucking Shadowheart, kind of a big deal. But again, I don't really want to I don't want to fucking everything becomes crab with the paladin, right? I don't want to do that. And again, because we're going to have a lot of people in our party, at least 7 total, I feel like I can sort of like betray strength a little bit. I don't have to be like the primary main tanky person, and I can lean more into a charisma build. And for warlock spells, I would do spells that get stronger the higher the spell shot, because of how warlock's spell slot works. Yeah. I think what is it? What was that fucking fire spell that everybody goes crazy for? The one that fucking like you shoot like 3 rays of fire at the same time or some shit like that. I mentioned it because I found the scroll like in the last playthrough, but I can't remember what it was called. I'm looking on the page now. I don't see it though. I swear it was like ray of something. Scorching rays. That's it. Yeah, that seems pretty fucking badass. that one seems like it scales. Because I always see that as like, oh, get this, and then you just go like Insano style with like everything. Specifically if you're like a magic user, and like that's kind of fucking slap a lapping, my guy. Like I can't lie. That's a pretty spicy meatball. That one is good. Yeah. So we're probably I don't think. Can warlocks learn that one? Oops. Scorching. There it is. Scorching ray. Oh, only as the fiend? Oh, that sucks. That sucks and is stupid. The Hexblade does get access to Branding Smite though, and that might actually be pretty. That might be worth it. Ooh, and then elemental weapon. That's also pretty good. And then blink. Blink is actually kind of crazy. Okay. Yeah. The Hunger of Hagar. Oh no, yeah. That's kind of a no-brainer. That one scales like crazy. I was just looking at like, other ones that also scale very well. And I remember Scorching Rays was definitely one of them. The Arms of Hadar that scales well, doesn't it? But it's only lasting 1 turn. Hadar, yeah. Autograde, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I think that is what we're gonna go for. Again, my default is to go with Paladin. But I don't want to do that. I want to try to be a little bit more flexible. I want to do something that I normally wouldn't do, which in this situation specifically is actually kind of really funny because Because yesterday I was talking so much fucking trash about warlocks. It's like, I just don't fucking know how to play them. I don't fucking know. I can't figure it out inside my little tiny pea brain. And now here I am at the end of this, at the end of our streaming weekend, after having failed another challenge run, for the exact same reason as the first. Our Tav got murdered. All like fucking, maybe I judged you too harshly type shit. How the fucking tables turned though. Okay, maybe the ad because I'm seeing the ad thing here on the television screen, and I think maybe it's just a leftover for whatever reason. Let me see here real quick. Hold on. Why is the fucking... Oh my god. I fucking accidentally turned off... fucking... God damn it. I accidentally turned off the chat on the vertical stream on TikTok. I had that shit hidden. God damn. So there's been no fucking vertical screen background chat on TikTok this whole time. I'm such a goof. Okay. Let me see here. I've convinced you to go to the dark side. You really have. You did it. You did it. You sold me. You sold me. I think because like you mentioned the Hexblade and stuff, and I'm like, you fucking use what is it? You can use medium armor. And then it can fucking change the requirements for any, like the requirement condition for any weapon to the charisma modifier. That's actually pretty fucking crack-a-lackin'. I had undersold the Hexblade. Like, whoa. But yeah, I think that's what we'll do. What is hold on a sec. Let me double check my calendar here. I don't think we have anything like specifically scheduled for next week. I feel like there's something coming up that is like, oh, we should probably do this for streaming that weekend. But I can't think of anything. So maybe there's not. I'd have to double check stuff. But yeah, as far as it goes, for right now, this is the end of our streaming weekend. I hope you enjoyed. If you do, or if you did, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that good shit. Check out the links in the description if you're watching on YouTube, below the chat if you're watching on, or below the stream if you're watching on Twitch, and in the bio if you're watching on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Discord, Blue Sky. Wait, hold on. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. There we go. Blue Sky, Discord. Join the Discord channel. And then the podcast, Adamcast podcast, long form interview style content. With noteworthy and interesting members of the Fallout community. Super great, super great. I always feel kind of fucking fucking repetitive. Because, like, that's always, like, my outro shit, and I always plug all my stuff at the end. And it's like, anybody who watches me long form already knows about all of it. So I feel like a broken record sometimes. I would also do Pact of the Blade level 3. Because at 5, there's an extra attack. Yeah, because that, I was thinking on the Pact stuff. And it still feels like Pact of the Blade is definitely the way to go. Again, specifically for that attack thing. Like, I'm looking at it on the... I'm looking at it on the page here, and it's like, you know, you gain the extra attack. Pact of Chain, your familiar gets an extra attack, which is, you know, also kind of cool. But then like, you know, Pact of Totem, it's like, oh, you gain Animate, Dead, Haste, and Call Lightning, which, like, all right, cool. Like, I guess, like as a free cast, especially Call Lightning, like that's not horrible, but it's like. You know, like it's kind of you know, one of those like sort of like middling things. But yeah, as far as the pack goes, like I feel like yeah, Pact of the Blade is definitely going to be the way to go. There's overlap with the bound weapon, but an extra attack is really good. No, yeah. That's it. It is one of the, like, it's the same thing. right? It's you're double dipping there, but the extra attack for you specifically, that's pretty banging. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so that's what we'll do when we get back into streaming weekend next week. We're gonna start Bald Lock Run, fucking third try. But this time we're gonna go with probably what is effectively the more strategically balanced build, because the last couple of builds I was mostly focusing on like how do I get the most out of like skill check stuff, right? How do I get that working? It very clearly does not work. So we're gonna try something a little bit different. We're gonna take it outside of the hyper fixed normative that we were going with there, with like really grinding our face character into a specific play style, and we're gonna go with more of a balanced run, where we're still doing charisma specificities, but instead of focusing only on speech check stuff, we're making it a little bit more combat ready. Which is very clearly the thing we're struggling with, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of really surprised that we've only gotten as far as we've gotten. I kind of figured that we'd at least get to the goblin camp, but nope. This fucking game's got hands. Honor mode's got hands. Good golly, Miss Molly. I'm kind of contemplating turning off the extra encounter mini boss stuff, because I feel like that's balanced well with honor mode. I feel like they did their due diligence on that one, but I don't know. I'm kind of already fucking it up so much, but we only technically fucked it up once because we got into a rough fight, and then the other time we were just stupid and didn't approach the owl bear situation properly, which is like, that would, God, that was such a fucking travesty. But yeah, that's what we got planned for next week. And then Fallout Friday, good times, fun times, best time you ever had. We're gonna actually be like legitimately playing Fallout 76 this time. I'm not just gonna fucking yap about how Fallout's woke and all that good shit like we did last week. So yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you all enjoyed. The weekend's over, but the next weekend's right around the corner. We'll start a new we'll get back into Fallout 76, our new game 2026 run. We'll get back into Baldur's Gate 3, the Bald Lock run, with ideally an actual fucking an actual good build this time. I don't know. Again, part of me is like, I want to do everything on stream, so it's like, you guys see that I'm like doing everything legit. I'm not fucking like cheating or anything. But like at the same time, I'm like, I gotta go through fucking all that shit again. I gotta talk to all those people again. I gotta fucking do all this nonsense again. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's different from like Pokemon, where you can kind of like grind off screen on streams and like, have it make a little bit more sense. Not really the case with Baldur's Gate 3, unfortunately. But yeah, once again, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, all that good stuff. The next weekends are coming right up. Thank you so much. Have a good week. Have a good rest of your weekend. And until next time, I will see you all out there in the wasteland. Bye. Bye. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Have a good week.